Hello chat. You know what I forgot to do before stream, and I literally just realised during the science student screen was to open Psssttt Chronicles. So I literally just I realised and I was like, oh shit. So I quickly opened Steam and it said Steam Cloud check-in, and I was like, shit, did it not save to Steam Cloud? I mean, it doesn't matter anyways because it's gonna save locally on my computer, but I was just like, oh shit. For a second I was like, oh, did it not properly save? Luckily it did properly save. So yeah. So I only got home an hour ago. Well, not an hour ago. I finished work an hour ago, and I got home at 7:45, and I was rushing to do everything. So yeah. Also, I put my washing on at 10 minutes ago, because that was a great idea to do. So I think during the first ad break, which will be at 9:30, I'll have to quickly run downstairs. I'll put on words on stream for you guys, and or something like that, or marbles or something. Do I have marbles on stream? I don't think so. I'll probably just will put on words on stream. I just put on words on stream for you guys, and then I still have a cough, but it's not as bad as it was a few weeks ago. But I'll put words on stream for you guys, and then I have to quickly run downstairs. And yeah, I don't think I changed my game capture because I'll try and usually I'll try and record stuff Stardew stuff. Or yeah, there we go. I usually try and record Stardew stuff or Sim stuff or whatever for YouTube, and I just didn't do that today. So yeah. We're starting this trial. We're starting the last trial of this case. We still have 2 more cases to go after this one, which is the Twisted Karma and his last bow, and then the resolve of the Yunosuke Naruhodo. So yeah, the Twisted Karma as well is an investigation. It's one investigation at the start, a trial into 2 parts, and then another investigation at the end. So yeah, and then the resolve of Yunosuke Naruhodo, there's a trial at the start, then there's an investigation, then there's a trial in 2 parts. So yeah. Let me switch back to. I have strategy wiki open as I usually do, to just kind of gauge how long the streams will be. And this stream probably won't be as long as the other ones. I mean, it might be, but the trials aren't as long as the investigations. The trials are pretty decently short. So yeah, and also while I was looking through the things, I got a spoiler for. While I was looking through each of the cases, I was clicking on the little cases on the side to see how long these are gonna be. I spoiled myself in the last case on who the victim will be. I'm not ready for it at all. I just I'm cleaning my glasses. I'm not ready for the last case at all. So yeah, not ready for that. Good morning to you, Mr. Naruhodo. Good morning, Professor. Ready for today's proceedings? I hope so. I should be. Even I, with nothing left to. Good morning, my dear fellows. Oh, it's Sholmes! Look, this guy. Oh, Mr. Sholmes, yeah. Why, naturally, a true gentleman stands shoulder to shoulder with his friends in battles at all times. Didn't he wake up late in the last case? I think it was the last case, to one of the trials, and slept through the majority, if not all the case. I think it was the majority of the case, because I think we split for recess in the last case in one of the trials, and then he joined and he was like, sorry, I woke up late. Thank you, I really appreciate it. I'll see you later then. Now, Professor, we really need you to remain calm in the courtroom today. Yeah, do try your hardest not to enter the witness stand and invite him again. Yeah, I will. I realised it was a mistake, but my dear fellows, I must interject. Oh, you're still here, Mr. Sholmes? What's the matter? Surely you've overlooked some praise, have you not? To be cast in my direction. Sorry, I don't follow. Attention seeker much. Must I spell it out? I, the great Sherlock Sholmes, the greatest detective of worldwide acclamation. Why couldn't I say acclamation? I rose at some ungodly hour to be here now. First thing in the morning, a miracle, you must agree. Well, if I must agree, then... I mean, it is a miracle. That's what I said. It's a fucking miracle. As you know, my sleep is quite impregnable. Iris had to employ her full gamut of tactics. She pulled the covers off, shook me, poked both cheeks, punched me and kicked me off from the bed. Then she poured a boiling cup of her latest experimental blend on my face and at last I was bestirred. How is your face not burned? Oh my, Iris has been busy. Iris doesn't have it in her to go that far. She's too nice. I sense the spirit of a fellow scientist, one who relishes the infinite possibilities of blended tea. I'm the one worthy of praise here, not Iris. This is my victory. Sorry to cut in. It's Gregson. Oh, Inspector Gregson. Good morning. Gregson, my dear fellow. What a grim expression at this delightfully early hour. Oh, I don't know. Maybe because I've been confronted with a grimmer expression. Dear me, are you going to take that insult lying down, Professor? What? I don't know. What do you mean? Poor Professor. Anyway, here's the paperwork you asked for. What paperwork? I took the liberty of requesting it yesterday. I have a feeling it may prove useful. What fucking paperwork? You wouldn't believe the hoops I had to jump through to get this brought out of the archives. It's the professor's autopsy report. Oh! That mass murderess who killed 5 members of the aristocracy? He was found guilty in a closed trial 10 years ago now. It was all done under wraps. And he was quickly executed soon after the trial. It's all in it. Okay, the autopsy report. I don't know what to say. Thank you, Inspector. Yeah, much obliged. Gregson. Why did I say that so weirdly? Much obliged, Gregson. Us lonely lot at the yard are just doing what we can. In the shadow of the great detective Sholmes, of course. What, are you just singing his praises because of Iris? Well then, Professor Hairbrain, this is it. Today we're going to lay all this to rest at last. I wish you the best of luck, Professor. I suppose he'll be in there today, will he? Trevor. Yeah, we expect the prosecution to summon him as a witness. I'm still amazed that you managed to find him in just one day. I really owe you both so much. Counsel, I need defendant. The trial is about to resume. Kindly make your way into the courtroom at once. Okay, in a minute we've got to look over the evidence because I barely remember shit from Wednesday. This is it then, the final chapter. Funny, my heart's racing a little. I've not felt this before, actually. This strange foreboding, as if something's gonna happen in this trial that I'm not ready for. But I can't let that distract me from the only thing that really matters. Finding the truth. Is Van Zeek's apprentice going to be here? I mean, we all kind of know who it is at this point. But, you know, because of like what Psssttt. Oh, he is it. Of what Ryunosuke. And obviously, basically, we basically know who he is because of what Psssttt. Why did I say that so weirdly? Because of what Psssttt and Ryunosuke said the other day. But you can never know. We'll have to wait till like it's officially revealed, you know? In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session again. Okay, court record. Let's look over the evidence. So we have the Great Exhibition newspaper. This is when Van Zeek was attacked, and this is his apprentice. And then that's the crystal tower with Hairbrain on the front cover. And then go back. Nope. Go back. There we go. And then we have the experiment sketch. That is the crystal tower, I presume, and then that's the machine putting it up. And those are the hot air balloons. And then we have the crossbow that belonged to Trevor, who I think is our suspected murderer in this case. I'll have to look at the people. This was part of one of the balloons that was sent up into the sky. This is the photograph of what's his name? I cannot remember his name for the life of me. And then we have the autopsy report of Mr. Asmund. That's his name. Odie Asmund, 47, British. 21st of October, around 2:20. Cause of death: hemorrhage of a wound to the chest that pierces the heart, inflicted by a sharp implement. Okay, stabbed to death. He had a broken vertebrae, most likely resulting from the impact after a sudden fall from a considerable height. Basically, we did raise the possibility that the Asmund that was put into the cage in the machine thing, the instantaneous kinesis machine, wasn't the same Asmund as the one that was found dead at the Crystal Tower. So the kind of assumption that I've been making is that he has a broken vertebrae from being shot and crashing through one of the windows of the Crystal Tower is most likely a false assumption, but I'm still gonna kind of operate under that assumption because I don't know if the two Asmund theory is actually correct. I mean, it might be, it might not be. And this is actually the screwdriver that is what's his name? Our defendants, the Hairbrains. This is a Hairbrains screwdriver with some blood in it. This is blood. Mr. Asmund's, no doubt. This is the problem with looking at murder weapons. Nothing more to say there. And then we've got the photograph of a balloon, which is another balloon that he claims was green and exploded moments after he took the shot. So this is one of the witnesses. It was Scott, I believe, that gave us this that shot this. And yeah, we've got this white beam here coming from here, and not the machine. It's not coming from here. It's coming from down on the ground here. So yeah. And then we've got the wooden bird cage that was, it was called the bird cage, not just cage. That was used for the Hairbrain's experiment, and this was found with the victim inside. Let me see. We've got some broken bits here. Ah, look here, Mr. Sato. Oh yeah, the wood's cracked and broken a little. I suppose because it fell from such a height. Yeah, from the height at which the balloon was flying down into the Crystal Tower below. A fall of about 30 feet, or 9 meters, leaving the man inside tragically dead. Okay. Causing damage to his base. So is the clone theory right or not? I guess, or the different Asmund's theory correct or not. So we've got the photograph of Drebber, who I originally was like, oh, this looks like Scythe. This looks like Scythe. This could be like a Scythe pretending to like dressing up like a guy, because it kind of looks like Scythe. But no, Trevor is a different person to Scythe. And then we got the camera. It was around the neck of the Mr. Drebber waxwork in Madame Tussauds. Ooh, we can open it out. What a wonderful machine. Oh, it has blood in it. You really love contraptions like this, don't you? We really haven't examined any of the evidence from that we found on Wednesday, so... Oh yes, anything mechanical I found absolutely irresistible. Almost irresistible, surely? Well, whenever I see a pocket watch, for example, I can't help myself. I simply have to take it apart. That's worrying. Yeah, Father tells me the time by the rumblings of his stomach now. He's given up having a watch. Poor Professor Mikatoba. Yeah, there's blood here. Oh, look, Mr. Naruhado. What is it? And the bellows just here. There seems to be some very dark red stains. Yeah, you're right. It looks like blood, actually. Oh my. I'm sure it's not what you're thinking. Okay. It's probably blood. And also, I've got to say, I love this 3D examining stuff. I just adore it. Oh look, the cover came open. Yeah, now there should be a glass plate inside. You have to change the plate with each new photograph you want to take, you see. Is something wrong? There is no plate, it's been removed. Ah, what a pity. But I suppose if you think about it, this wouldn't be the actual camera that was used at the time. Just the waxwork isn't, just like the waxwork isn't the actual person. So we'd never have found a photographic print of the executed convict to come back to life anyway. Oh yeah, you're quite right, of course. Poor Psssttt-san. She looks devastated. Okay, I think we've examined everything to do with the camera. Can we? We can't. Okay, we can't examine really anything. But this is on gold something. T-O. Can't tell if that's a B or an N. T-O-B. I mean, there's a B there and then there's an N there. So good. A B or an R even, not a B or an N. But yeah, that's something. Good something. We've got a piece of, and that looks more like an eye patch than a monocle, but again, the monocle is dark, so. Then we've got a piece of broken glass. It's very unusual and thick glass that was found in the woods. The clothing of the Professor waxwork that appear to be from the Crystal Tower. I can't find anything in that place. Okay. Wait. This piece of glass is almost as thick as it is wide. Yeah, I've never seen anything like it. If you were to compare it to a human, only Mr. Sholmes has such thick skin. There's really no need for such a comparison, Mr. Naruhado, as well as you know. Anyway, it can only be from the Crystal Tower, surely. Yeah, I think so too. It was probably made especially to meet the demands of that great structure. I'd assume so, yeah. And then we've got this scientific award that we found in Trevor's place. There's a little metal plaque here, look. Fostering burgeoning talent for the future of scientific discovery. It seems rather ironic, doesn't it? But clearly Mr. Trevor really was a very talented scientist. Okay. Anything else to? I don't think there's anything else to examine with this trophy. Then we've got the waxwork head from Spells. Can we not examine anything with this? Or is it just no? We can't examine anything. We can't examine anything with the waxwork head. And then we've got the killer's autopsy report, which we have just gotten redacted for confidentiality. Pseudonym: the Professor. Death by hanging confirmed at midnight 17th of June. Courtney Stevens. Okay. Surely that's an irrelevant name, right? And then we have Susato, Iris, Herlock, Stockheart, victim Asmund. And then we've got Barrett Van Zeeks, and then we've got Van Zeek's apprentice. He has the air of a completely unassailable man. And we've got Hairbrain, our defendant. And we've got Gina Lestrade, self-appointed detective inspector. And we've got Gregson, I believe it's Gregson, our detective. Then we've got Esmeralda Tispels, proprietress of the Tispels Waxwork Museum. Then we've got Balthazar Loon, one of the witnesses from Wednesday's trial. And then we've got what's his name? Kai, thank you for the bits. Welcome on in. Thank you. That was so nice of you. Thank you. Welcome on in. How you doing? How you doing, Kai? But yeah, this is got that's he has like 4 names and I don't remember any of them. So his name is the only one I remember is that one of his names is like Got, like part of one of his names is Got. So I'm just calling him Got. And I've got Courtney Scythe. Did she change her last name from Stevens to Scythe? Not too bad. Was playing some Helldiver with my mate, showing me the ropes of the game. Ooh, that sounds like I haven't seen so much of Helldiver, but I hope it was a fun time. Yeah. Did Courtney? This can't be a coincidence. Did Courtney change her life name from Stevens to Scythe? I feel like that would be, because she was the one who, because look, Courtney, let me see, Courtney Stevens, yeah, and this is the autopsy report of the professor who was executed, like he was found guilty and probably executed 10 years ago. So it's very possible that she could have just like got married and changed her last name to Scythe. And we've got Anak Drebber, a trickster, seems to be both an engineer and a magician, and he constructed the machine for Harebrain's demonstration. It was the second one, but oh my god, there's so much to it, but very fun. I'm glad it was fun. But oh my god, like, I'm guessing games that's just kind of similar to Helldiver are just like, there's just so much stuff in it that like it'll take you like kind of years to complete. Oh my god. Yeah, this guy, he's probably gonna get called in as witness. Let's be honest. We resume the public hearing of Albert Harebrain, here present, who stands accused of murder. Are the counsels for the prosecution and defense ready to proceed? The prosecution is ready, my lord. The judge is like, oh, yo, who the fuck is that? We have not seen that person before in court. Because the thing is, I'm just gonna call him Van Zeek's Barrack. I'm just gonna keep calling him Barrack's assistant, Barrack's apprentice even. With Barrack's apprentice, like he wasn't in the last trial he wasn't in the first trial in this case. So the judge is like, oh, who the fuck is this? The defense is ready, my lord. I mean, you might know because Strongheart appointed Van Zeeks to have an apprentice. So, like, the judge might know, but knowing judges in Ace Attorney games, he probably has like no fucking idea. As promised, Lord Van Zeeks has his apprentice with him, his apprentice with memory loss, who we believe to be Casimir. If I may, Lord Van Zeeks. Yes, my lord. There appears to be someone standing at your side. Ah yes, my apprentice and assistant. The prosecution believes today's proceedings will see the complexity of this case rise considerably. Ooh, that's a cool little animation. Little dual animation. I thereby instructed my assistant to attend to ensure the smooth running of the trial and the smooth running of liquid refreshments by the look of it. The way he holds himself, the way he moves, it could be anyone else. But he's still suffering from amnesia, so there's really nothing we can do at the moment. I know, but this is so very hard. It would appear the prosecution has done a fine job in responding to the demands of the court made yesterday. I understand you have successfully secured the engineer who disappeared from the scene on the day in question. Yes, my lord. I intend to call him as a witness shortly. Very good, very good. Now then, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you have been chosen at random to represent the will of the people in the court today. Are you ready and willing to proceed? Oh yeah, we've got new jurors, haven't we? Again, it is so weird not seeing Mr. Foreman as juror number 1. It is so weird. Because Because usually we have like the set, like similar or like the same witnesses. Okay, that's kind of like in the last. No, we've had the similar same witnesses for like the whole game. I can't remember when the jury system came to. I can't remember which game the jury system was introduced. I think it was the first game actually, the first Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. Not just the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. There's only one Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. Let me rephrase that. Let me rephrase that entire fucking point. The jury system, I think, was introduced in the first Great Ace Attorney Adventures. And we've just had the similar or like the same, like the similar, like at least like same like 4 or 5 jury members for like the same 4 or 5 jury members with like jury number like 4, jury number like 3 being switched out. Like there's 6 jury members in total, but like usually only like 4 or 5 of them stay like consistently the same, and that was just like the same jury members for the entire time. And I don't know if I like it, just because I've gotten so used to like having like the same jury members, and it feels weird having them just like switch it up in the middle of a game. It feels weird. Of course, my lord, I am sure we all understand the importance of doing our civic duty. I do so despise deception and deceit. I find it so very wearing. To take a man's life with a conjuring trick, it is against the magician's code, not to mention the law. Any fake scientists should feel the wrath of God, if you ask me. We have to listen to what's said on both sides' defense and then settle on one. That's it, innit? Wasn't like this in my day. It wasn't like this at all. If all parties are ready to proceed, you may begin, Lord Van Zeeks. Before I do, my lord, there is a report I must read to the court. Yesterday, at the Great Exhibition Grounds, the evidence of primary importance in this case, the super high voltage instantaneous kinesis machine, which was installed on the experimentation stage, was deliberately destroyed in an explosion effected by an unknown person or persons. It was what? An explosion? This is an outrage. This is an outrage. Yes, I heard this grave news yesterday. Scotland Yard submitted a report to my office in the evening. I read that the machine was blasted to smithereens and the wreckage reduced to ashes in the flames. I have here a photographic print of the scene taken in the wake of the explosion. Oh, okay. It shows what little remains of the machine. Yes, a terrible business. He did it to destroy the evidence, did he? That and Trevor. The court will take this print as evidence, counsel. The post-explosion photograph added to the court record. Late yesterday afternoon, the protection afforded to the machine by the Special Dispensation for Scientific Equipment Act was revoked. However, before a thorough investigation could begin, the invention was obliterated from existence. As such, this will become a very different trial. Okay. I mean, I bet people will suspect, Hairbrain of explaining it, but obviously he's in custody, so that couldn't have happened. So we don't know who actually did it. I mean, let's be honest, it was Drebber. Let's be honest, it was probably Drebber. As it stands now, with no evidence on which to draw meaningful conclusions, the authenticity of the kinesis machine will remain forever in obscurity. Indeed, a most unfortunate state of affairs. However, one thing remains clear. The victim's death was the result of the actions of the accused. Of that we can be certain. For it was the accused himself who was operating the machine and who ultimately caused its loss of control. As Lord Van Zeeks rightfully says, this is a very different trial now. The accused accepts responsibility for his part in the events that transpired. He acknowledges that Mr. Asman died as a result of the accident caused by his machine's malfunction. However, unbeknownst to the professor, he was being deliberately deceived by a pair of very clever fraudsters. Names, counsel, if you please. The engineer, Mr. Enoch Trevor, and the victim himself, Mr. Odi Asman. Vazik's barrack is like, what the fuck? So, what exactly were these two men up to behind the defendant's back? The defense intends to expose that information, thus establishing the unequivocal innocence of the defendant. Thank you, counsels. The positions of the prosecution and defense have been clearly stated. Lord Van Zeeks, summon your first witness, please. At once, my lord. The prosecution calls the engineer, Mr. Enoch Trevor, to the stand. Okay, yeah, I kind of knew he was going to get called by the prosecution as a witness. Areas, state your name and occupation for the call. Name, Enoch Trevor. Occupation. Hard to pin down, I would say. See that black monocle? Yeah, why do I feel as though I've seen it somewhere before? Oh, you do? I had exactly the same feeling. Your file indicates that you are currently being investigated in connection with another case. The theft of a waxwork model, is it? A most extraordinary sounding business. But that has no bearing on this trial, I assure you. Cleave it from your mind. Yeah, sure. You're familiar with the public experiments that carried out at the Great Exhibition some days ago. The accused super high voltage, instantaneous kinesis demonstration. Yeah, you could say that. I'm aware of it. There was a terrible accident, wasn't there? It was you, Mr. Trevor, who constructed the vast machine used in the experiment, or so our investigations indicate. Can you confirm your involvement? Yes, I constructed it, in precise accordance with the blueprints, but that's all. Then the court would be very interested to hear your thoughts on the machine, I'm sure. An amazing device, if you ask me. The pinnacle of modern science, making instantaneous kinesis a reality at last. Wow. Good gracious. Do you mean to say that the experiment was bona fide? Is that your belief, sir? Yeah, that is very much my belief. Such a waste that blew up. But we've already established the machine was nothing more than a proper and elaborate conjuring trick. You've established nothing of the sort. All that was shown during yesterday's proceedings is that the same outcome could have been produced by means of straight stage trickery. The defense merely proposed a method and demonstrated its feasibility, nothing more. But we've procrastinated long enough, I feel. Witness, you will now give your formal testimony about the machine that you constructed for the purpose of the demonstration at the Great Exhibition. Understood. Witness testimony time. Let's go. I met the young professor approximately 1 year ago through Mr. Asman's introduction. He provided me with the blueprints and I constructed the machine to his precise specifications. It was no trick. If the whole show was a fraud, it would have required a body double. Tell me, did the victim have a twin? All the spectators saw a birdcage appear above their heads and then crash headfirst into the crystal tower. A terrible accident, I grant you. Perhaps the science on which the machine was built was flawed somehow. Oh no. I was gonna say like you built it, so like why should it be flawed when you just said it was perfect? But no, it was like, oh, he built it. He just followed instructions and the blueprints were flawed. That's what he meant. not a body double? That goes without saying, surely. To give the impression that something has moved when in reality it hasn't. It's a basic conjuring principle. Oh yeah, he's a magician as well, isn't he? The deception cannot be achieved without substituting the original with a fake at some point in the performance. Would I be right in saying you haven't managed to establish anything along those lines? I really love his animations. He has. Jabba has like the cool, probably my favorite animations out of all of Great Ace Attorney. They're just kind of funky. I love them. Incidentally, the prosecution has already confirmed that Mr. Asman had no twin siblings. It's my understanding that this witness is well versed in conjuring artfulness. But such talents do not indicate that he was actually able to accomplish what he claims. Namely, the construction of what, by all accounts, must have been an extremely complex scientific machine even. What do you mean? Yesterday's proceedings brought the true nature of your past exploits to light, Mr. Trevor. Indeed it did, my lord. As a swindler who preys on innocent scientists to elicit government grant money through conjuring know-how. Yeah, it's true that I possess considerable knowledge of stage magic. But crucially, my scientific knowledge more than matches that of any academic in the field. Investigation of the witness's workshop attests to that claim, my lord. As evidence, the police found this Royal Society trophy for young talent in science there. Yeah, that's true, we spotted them ourselves. If my hypothesis is sound, it can always be forged into a physical manifestation with sufficient skill. Though I may have sold the secrets of some deceptive wills to sniveling, talentless scientists in the past, would you therefore assert that the explosion of the machine was an unfortunate accident, or, of course, a deliberate act of murder carried out by misuse of the science? Counsel for the defense. The cross-examination, please. Yes, my lord. Okay, let's go. Let's go. Okay, let's go. First of all, save. There we go. Let's do that head so I can actually properly see all of the text. Crash headrest into crystal tower.
Objection!
We've examined the birdcage that crashed into the crystal tower ourselves. As you can see, the cage, which is a wooden construction, has sustained damage in one particular spot. Following the explosion, it fell some 30 feet into the glass of the crystal tower. That level of damage is to be expected, surely. I agree. The damage itself is entirely understandable. What doesn't make sense is the location of that damage. Yeah, exactly. All the breakages in the wood are at the base of the birdcage, not the top. So that it should have gone, it could have gone shut out, instead of, you know. And let's do a better example. Top of my phone, bottom of my phone. With where the damage is located, and with the testimony, the birdcage. Imagine this. My phone is the birdcage. It would have gone instead. But science. The way science works, it would have gone or you know. It would have just suddenly do, like that. What are you saying? That's the opposite of the way they should be. That's right, my lord. The birdcage that was at the scene is damaged at its base, so we have reports of the birdcage falling headlong into the Crystal Tower, yet the damage is at the bottom. The only way to reconcile these two facts is to accept that there were two birdcages in play that day, which were at some point switched during what wasn't a scientific experiment at all, but an elaborate piece of stage trickery. I kind of find it funny how like some of his text will be like, you know, orange and the rest will be white, like, you know, like the majority of characters' text is. Good gracious, explain yourself, witness. Well, if we examine the facts, there's only one logical conclusion we can draw. The damage on the base of the birdcage clearly indicates that it crashed tail first into the tower. But multiple witness reports claim it fell headfirst. The birdcage materialized in the sky next to a balloon flying over the stage, following a spontaneous explosion at an altitude of some 60 feet above ground level, which is approximately 18 meters. It then proceeded to fall some 30 feet into the Crystal Tower within the ensuing deflagration. Witness reports amid such chaos are notoriously unreliable. But the victim's neck was broken. He plummeted 30 feet inside a heavy wooden cage. However, he fell. It would be unsurprising to find one or two of his vertebrae crushed. But, that doesn't make sense though. Because if it fell tail first instead of head first, right, so he was upright, right. So, like, if it fell, like, head first, like originally expected, like multiple witness accounts said, then, like, of course his vertebrae would be broken. But, the damage on the birdcage suggests that it fell tail first into the Crystal Tower, meaning that his vertebrae, which, you know, his neck is like vertebrae in his spine, probably wouldn't be the only type of damage that reported. I mean, he wouldn't have been like massively damaged. Like his feet and like his legs would be probably much more damaged than his than the vertebrae in his spine. So logic, physics. Do you not know how damaged the bricks? I've riveting scientific analysis of events from the prosecution there. But to be even more rigorous, you would have to say it was only one vertebrae actually. He wasn't quiet for long. I find it hard to see what's motivating Lord Van Seeks. This witness is clearly a swindler and one who deceived a personal friend of his. If you're going to establish this deception, do it right. Sorry? I feel like that's the undertone here. Ah yes, and there's one more point. The defense appears to have forgotten. It obviously wasn't a trick, as a certain truth very plainly demonstrates. What? What truth? What are you on about, dude? It seems to me that the cross-examination had better continue until we resolve this matter. Mr. Drebber, you amend your testimony with details of this truth. Of course, we must treat the matter scientifically after all. I nearly had him there. Okay, what's the new one? What's the new statement? The kinesis clearly took place because there's nowhere else 30 feet high for the birdcage to have fallen from. Okay. Balloon. It's also obviously over parts of the Crystal Tower.
Objection!
This is a diagram of the experimentation stage and its surroundings. We know that somehow the birdcage appeared in midair before falling down into the Crystal Tower. A fall of about 30 feet or 9 meters. However, if you examine the diagram carefully, you will see that there is one of a possible location from which the birdcage could have fallen from. The same distance of 30 feet. No. Oh shit, wait. Did I find nothing? The thing that opened up at the bottom of the kinesis machine? Well, it appears the defense is a possible explanation to put forward. Go ahead, counsel. Yeah, my lord. Of course. You will indicate the place to which you are referring on the same diagram. The alternative location from which the birdcage could have possibly fallen 30 feet. Because if you look, the balloons are in the background. So they weren't close at all to the site. I'm gonna pick here.
Take that!
There's no other location. The place I'm referring to is here. But that's where the birdcage would have been to begin with, which is exactly the point, my lord. Yeah, the birdcage was in the machine on the stage. But what we must also consider is the height of the stage itself. Go on, counsel. It turns out the experimentation stage was built at considerable height above ground level. If you look at the diagram, in fact, you see it's about the same height above the ground as the balloon was above the crash site. When the experiment got underway, the machine and the birdcage were engulfed in steam. At the moment, the floor of the stage gave way, and if we assume there to be a void underneath, this birdcage and the one seen by the audience would have fallen almost exactly the same distance. Once again, my lord, this all points to the fact that there was no one birdcage, but two. My learned friend has no evidence that the stage has such a contrivance in its design. Someone is responsible for the criminal destruction of the kinesis machine itself, it's true. However, the stage still stands. And take a moment to look at the photographic print of the scene following yesterday's explosion. Good lord, the metal growth that formed the floor of the machine is undone. Yeah, most likely blown open by the force of the explosion that destroyed the rest of the machine. The defense calls for the space below the stage to be investigated immediately. Mr. Drebber, it was you who built the kinesis machine, which means that it was you who built the two bird cages that were used to carry out this deception. Whether Professor Harebrain's hypothesis is sound or not makes no difference, because it's the construction of this machine that matters. A machine designed to take Mr. Asman's life. I'm just checking this. Discord pink group. Wait, just check it. Discord stuff. Okay, there we go. And lay the blame firmly at the professor's door. Something that could only have been carried out by you, Mr. Enoch Drebber. Start of a breakdown.
Objection!
How many bottles of wine does he go through in each trial? Jesus Christ. And my learned friend has reached the end of his wild assertions. The prosecution would like to crush the defense's argument slowly, but surely. Now, what was the point of that? You just poured that wine. What was the point of crushing it? I'm sorry, what was the point? What was the point of pouring it and then crushing it again? What? Why? What was the point? What was the point? Barak, you make no sense to me. What? Your argument fails to hold water on 2 counts. 2. Firstly, before and after the experiment, this witness went nowhere near the kinesis machine. Every relevant member of staff from the exhibition has attested to that. And if I believe members of Scotland Yard have also been on watch duty at every public experiment. In other words, Mr. Drebber had no opportunity to switch the alleged pair of bird cages. But I've already explained why he wouldn't need to. The nonsense with the crossbow? That isn't bothering the case at all. The man who disappeared from the stage and the man who crashed into the tower are one and the same. The forensic investigation team's report is unequivocal on that point. And the second flaw in your assertion is a distinct lack of motive. While this man wanted to take the victim's life, he had no reason to do so. Sometimes you don't need a motive, sometimes you just want to kill him out for fun. A motive? Do I have to think of everything myself? I have here a contract provided by the witness. What contract is this, Lord Psssttt? The contract into which Mr. Drebber entered with the victim, Mr. Asman. It reads, Mr. Drebber is to receive 30% of all remunerations from the government grant or other income. 30%? Certainly very favourable contractual conditions. But there was one very important provision bolted out of that clause. What provision? Mr. Drebber may only uphold this right on condition that both contracted parties are alive. In other words, if either of us were to die, the contract would become null and void. So you see, I had nothing to gain from Asman's death. The diametric opposite, in fact. And need I say more? The witness had neither an opportunity nor reason to commit the alleged crime. In short, the possibility of Mr. Drebber having done as you suggest is nil. It seems the defence's assertions was somewhat wide of the mark. Lord Psssttt, you will submit the contract as evidence, please. Okay. It's true. If Drebber had no opportunity to switch the birdcage under the stage to the one in the Crystal Tower, he couldn't have done it. And in any case, I have no idea what his motive might have been. There is one aspect of your argument that still holds true, however. There were 2 birdcages. The prosecution is unable to deny that. So I'm sure you're on the right lines, Mr. Naruhodo. I have no doubt there are other aspects of your assertion that were undeniable truths too. Well, it would seem that the defense had no rejoinder to offer. What the fuck does rejoinder mean? Why does this game use so many big words? Seriously, to me. This whole franchise just uses too many big words. Well, I must say I'm a little surprised. I came in to testify about the machine I built, and instead my reputation is defiled. But the prosecution's counter has set the record straight, I think. And in 5 minutes, guys, and in 5 minutes. It's impossible that I'm the culprit. At the beginning of this trial, we believed that there was only 1 birdcage. And now we know that must have been 2. In other words, there was more to the demonstration than we realized at first. I think it's abundantly clear that the same applies to the culprit. Get to the point? The stage demonstration was constructed itself in its entirety by you, Mr. Drebber. Therefore, it's inconceivable that you had no hand in the events that transpired. So if circumstances mean it's impossible that you could have carried out the crime yourself, it points to the fact that someone else was involved. Someone else? Counsel, are you suggesting? Yes, my lord. Mr. Drebber had an accomplice. an accomplice now. Well then, I presume you're prepared for what's to come. And then you're accusing not only this witness, but someone else of the most serious of crimes. If these accusations turn out to be false, then make no mistake, the prosecution will demand an equally serious punishment for your slander. Well, counsel, do you intend to pursue this cause and formally accuse another party of involvement in this matter? What do I do here? At the moment, this is little more than 100 on my part. I don't know for sure if Trevor had an accomplice, or even if he's really the culprit here. One way or another, though, I have to make my position clear as a lawyer. So what's my stance going to be? Did Trevor have an accomplice or not? Yes, we're going down this road. We're going on this road or die trying. The defense is ready to name Mr. Trevor's accomplice. Somehow the two bird cages must have been switched. Everything points to that. Yeah, according to the coroner's report, that's not a possibility. But that inconsistency itself is a clue. Counsel. And we pointed out earlier that Courtney Scythe maybe changed her name from Courtney Stevens to Courtney Scythe. That's a possibility. My lord, you have received a stark warning already. If you are nevertheless determined, then I must now ask you to identify this alleged accomplice by name. So, your answer, please. Who do you claim to have been Mr. Trevor's accomplice? First though, is there another achievement for this case? Oh, I've already got one. I think I already got one. Let me see. Oh no, I think we've already gotten the thing for this case. So it is
Take that!
Courtney. The name of the person in question is what's wrong, my Nipponese friend. Surely fear doesn't bind your tongue now. It's a little late for that. Of course, I'm afraid. After all, naming her in this capacity is definitely going to make waves. A lot of waves. I could very well turn every single person in this court against me. I'm sure it will be alright, Mr. Naruhodo. Thank you, Mr. Sato. The enemy always appears larger than life, but you'll appear exactly the same to the enemy. Alright then, here goes. You've kept us waiting long enough. Your answer, counsel, now. The person who colluded with Mr. Trevor in order to carry out this wicked crime is Scotland Yard's coroner, Dr. Courtney Scythe. What the place is he talking about, Dr. Scythe? The head of the forensic investigations team and the coroner who conducted the autopsy of the victim. We know that there were two bird cages, so who could have carried out the switch to complete the illusion? The accident happened in front of a huge crowd of spectators and the area was immediately sealed off. Then everyone, police officers included, would manage to make way for the forensic investigations team. When else could the switch have occurred? It could only have been in the team's presence. Okay, the thing, the ad thing should be... It should be going on soon. I don't know why it's not coming up. It's essentially that the court determines exactly what happened following the incident. The defense demands that Dr. Scythe be summoned to the witness stand at once to testify. You've got nerve, lad. Standing up there, dragging the yard's name through the mud. I didn't mean to. I know the woman very well. There's no better dead room worker out there. How dare you call her a criminal? My learned friend's imagination appears to be wilder than the East End. Wilder than the East End. And at night. The recklessness of your accusation aside, There's another grave problem with your argument, on which the prosecution demands you address at once. A grave problem? Oh my word. Who do you claim acted as the victim's doppelganger? And I'm checking something really quickly on Twitch. Okay, say they have another hour before the next ad. So did the ad just like glitch or something and did not play an ad? Okay, so I'm gonna complete this next little bit and then I need to go and start out my washing. So after this like little bit, then I shall take a little break. What? Certainly, if the birdcage containing the body of the victim was exchanged for another, that cage must also have contained a body. And yet, no missing persons or accidental deaths of anyone even remotely resembling the victim have been reported. Which means there was no one, dead or alive, who could have fulfilled the role of a body double for Mr. Asman. That's true. If my argument is that there were 2 bird cages, then there must also have been 1 person in each. I don't know if I've got an answer to this yet, have I? What can I do to reveal how this body double stunt was achieved? Present evidence? Very well. The defense will address my learned friend's concerns by presenting evidence that reveals the true nature of Mr. Asman's body double. Good gracious, evidence? I do hope this isn't some filibustering counsel, whatever that means. The court is expecting a name. If you think you have relevant evidence, present it now. The body double and the birdcage were hiding inside the balloon that was floating above the stage, which means that any witnesses would only have seen them from 60 feet away. So who will say that they appeared out of that explosion some 18 meters above the spectators? Aha! The body double inside the second birdcage was...
Take that!
We know that the victim Mr. Asman was in the birdcage that was situated inside the kinesis machine on stage, and therefore he couldn't have been inside the second birdcage. Instead, that contains something else. Was best described as a body double, which is what fell from the sky and crashed into the crystal tower. Yes, Counsel, according to your somewhat elaborate version of events. And that body double inside the birdcage was in fact... It's alright, Mr. Naruhodo. You ready for this? Just steel yourself and come out with it. Thank you, Mr. Sato. I needed that. As I was saying, the body double inside the second birdcage was, as unbelievable as it may seem, that thing there. They brought the whole fucking waxwork thing.
Objection!
Open your eyes and look at into my Japanese friend. What? Now tell me, what are you playing at? Stand firm now, Ryunosuke. This is the time to show your Japanese spirit. As the court will observe, this is a waxwork model. A model, in fact, of an infamous London murderer from 10 years ago.
Objection!
You started by indicating the leader of the forensic investigation team as an accomplice in this crime. And now you've moved on to indicating waxworks? Yeah, that's about the size of it. But why? And why is this waxwork? It looks nothing like the victim. In fact, it could hardly resemble him less. What possible justification can you give? If you want to know why, ask Mr. Drebber. What? Just days before Professor Harebrink began his public demonstration, Mr. Drebber abducted this model from Madame Tussauds. Did you say abducted? And 2 days after the incident at the Great Exhibition, he returned it to the museum. Then the timing. Is this true, Mr. Drebber? At first, I couldn't see why Mr. Drebber would have stolen the waxwork and then given it back again. But now the reason is clear. He took it so that he could put it inside the second birdcage as a body double for Mr. Asman. Ah!
Objection!
Are you hearing this, ladies and gentlemen of the jury? Are you hearing the defense's astonishing proposal? That the witness fabricated this vast machine with the intention of deceiving some wretched scientist. That he did it so in collusion with the country's finest coroner on a public stage in front of a vast audience. And that, to effect the deception, he used a waxwork model that in no way resembles the victim. Are we really to believe this far-fetched tale? What do you decide?
Objection!
Why are you manipulating the jury, mate? Wait, yeah, if you put it like that, of course it sounds implausible. My lord. I need to speak, if you please. Go ahead, Mr. Foreman. Mr. Foreman? That is not Foreman, surely. That is not... Wait. I'm an idiot. I forgot his name. The foreman is just the title of jury number 1. It's just the title of jury number 1. The jury member that I've been referring to as jury number 1 from previous trials was fucking fair play. Was fucking Bruce fair play? No, this name's not Foreman. I'm an idiot. I'm an idiot. Oh my god. Myself and my colleagues have reached an agreement. Very good. In that case, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you will state your leanings for the court to hear now.
Guilty. 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 Guilty.
Guilty. That's so easy. Guilty. So, as indicated by the foreman, the jury has reached a consensus. I knew that was gonna happen. It always bloody happens. It always bloody happens. We shall get through this, Mr. Naruhodo, as we always do. And uncover some new truths along the way. I'm quite sure. Yeah, I agree. I'm going to have to appeal to the jurors as usual and see if I can persuade them to change their minds. The defense will now embark on a summation examination as usual. Are you and your fellows ready to proceed, Mr. Foreman? We are, my lord. I can't believe I thought Bruce Fairplay's name was Foreman, even though we played his case. The case where he was like a witness. That was like the case before the case where he became a member of the jury. Very well. In that case, I ask you now to state clearly for all present to hear the grounds on which each of you have decided that the defendant is guilty of the crime in which he is charged. Okay, before we actually do the, judicial findings, the summation examination, I need to go sort out my washing. So I'm gonna put on a 3-minute ad, and I'm gonna stay here. I'm gonna get some options before I scroll any further. But yeah, what I'm gonna do is get our words on stream. Gonna get our words on stream. There we go. Wait, I'm gonna move to this screen first. So I can sort it out. So I can sort it out. So quickly sort it. Settings. Autopilot on. So yeah. Gonna start it. And yeah. I have returned! Yay! Just gonna quickly check this. Discord notification. No, don't want to know about what's on stream, man. Okay, let's get back to this. We have the summation examination time. Yeah. Woo-hoo. Wow. I've known that woman for years. She'd never been accomplice to anything. It's utter nonsense to think that those two would ever be conniving with one another. Oh dear, this is most troubling. But surely the waxwork the man stole has nothing to do with the coroner, is it? I've had my own problems with members of the police. I do not trust them as much. I've seen no rigorous proof that this waxwork was ever inside the birdcage. It's conjecture. Accusing someone without right evidence? He's not a proper job, is he? I won't have it. Somewhat unsurprisingly, it seems the introduction of this waxwork model to the proceedings has polarized opinions. Given that its face is obscured and its build is in no way resembles that of the victim, I can only applaud my learned friend's temerity in suggesting it as Mr. Asmund's body double. Yes, the applause is deafening. And yes, I know it seems extraordinary, but that's the point. Yeah, exactly, that's the point. That's why I have a strong feeling it's actually a greater clue than anyone yet realizes. What are you thinking, Mr. Naruhodo? I can't explain why at the moment, but I feel as though there's a specific reason why it's used, why it was used, why it had to be this model. Really? A reason why nothing else would do, you mean? I'm convinced. It's something far more significant than whether or not the model looks like the victim. Well, if that's the case, we must prevent the trial from ending prematurely at all costs. Yeah, agreed. I have to find a way out of this. If you are ready, Counsel, you may proceed with the summation examination. Yes, my lord. Let's go. Jury examination, summation examination time. I love how we just get like a little animation from the witnesses, in just like the little background whenever it like zooms in on Naruhodo, and it's like summation examination. Yeah. Okay. The one I want to talk to actually, he had a very kind of surprising kind of thing to say. What's jury number 3?
Hold it!
Why do you have problems with the police? What sort of problems? Let's just say we have run into each other on numerous occasions while I've been performing on the street. Right, I see. Obviously, artists such as myself cannot appear on stage as we work in close proximity with our audiences. So we perform our great magic in parks, on street corners and the like.
Not in my day.
What the fuck? What the fuck am I just dying? Oh my god. But the police use any excuse to make our lives difficult.
Excuse me.
There's a cop on the stand, on the jury. What you guys say? You have something to say in response to that? Mr. Ottomo? That's his name? Ottomo? Who are you calling him, mass murderer? Oh yeah. Oh, I forgot he was in Dispels. Sorry for my mistake. I got confused because I don't look like him. I don't look like anything like that man. You want to be looked up something? Oh wait, he was a name. He looks similar but not the same. Thanks, Mr. Shawms. Because we couldn't move on. I was really wondering if you had something you wanted to add in response to what juror number 3 said. And clearly, yeah, I do. Back in my day, back in the good old days, it wasn't like this. What was it like, sir? We worked our fingers to the bone to earn the public's trust we did. And by Jove, we earned it. People respected us back then. Respected you? No one would have called a coroner into question in them days. Which, made the perfect murderers. A coroner's report was the hallmark of an investigation done right. Especially when Dr. Courtney Stevens put a name to it. She was the best of the best, and the apple of the force's eye. I told you, I fucking told you. Courtney Stevens and Courtney Stevens, same fucking person. Hold on a minute. What are you talking about? Who's Courtney Stevens? Sorry? Got a bit carried away there. Stevens is Dr. Stives' maiden name. Knew it! Fucking knew it. Her maiden name, so that was before she was married. Of course, yes, silly me. It's Stives now, isn't it? Back in my day, her name was Courtney Stevens. I'm sure I've seen that name somewhere recently. Anyway, the point is, those were the great old days of policing, not now. Sorry to interrupt, sir. But do you think you should change your statement to include that name? Oh yeah, I don't see why not. She was Courtney Stevens back when I knew her. Of course, a legendary coroner back then. it does, like he said. The waxwork that was stolen was of the professor. So, how about we just do a little bit of
Objection!
Those two statements clearly contradict each other. God gracious, to whose statements do you refer, Counsel? So, jury number 2. Oh gosh, me? What can I do for you? I presume that you heard what jury number 6 said in his statement. It's brought to light the maiden name of the coroner, Dr. Syfe, which in turn has revealed a connection that wasn't apparent before. Well, naturally, as a woman of society, I find such connections and relationships irresistible. But oh golly, I'm afraid I fail to see what you mean. Dr. Syfe's maiden name is Stevens, and through that name, the coroner is very definitely linked to the waxwork of the killer. The defense has evidence to prove it. My goodness, evidence you say? How utterly enthralling. Counsel, the court cannot overlook that last remark. I very much hope there is substance to your claim. Of course, my lord. I would ask the court to look at this. The evidence that clearly links Dr. Syfe to the mass murderer known as the Professor.
Take that!
I have here a certain autopsy report from 10 years ago. A 10-year-old autopsy report? What relevance does that have? Clearly, Malongs don't like this fucking... Markov doesn't like this fucking autopsy report. It is, of course, from the autopsy of the person portrayed in the waxwork, the killer known as the Professor. The Professors? But the man was a capital offender, so... That's right. This is the certification of death that was drawn up after the convict's execution. Yeah. The identity of the killer was never made public, so the report gives few details. But what's important is the name of the coroner who wrote it. Courtney Stevens. Oh my, Courtney Stevens. Strike a light. It appears that the professor's autopsy was conducted by Dr. Syfe 10 years ago, and a few days ago, Mr. Drebber very deliberately stole the waxwork of the professor from Madame Tussaud's, a waxwork that doesn't in fact resemble the victim, Mr. Aspen, at all. And do you suppose there's some unsavory relationship between those events? Absolutely, I'm sure of it. There's no doubt in my mind that the professor case is at the heart of a link. Is at the heart of a link that we have yet to uncover between Dr. Courtney Syfe and Mr. Enoch Drebber. Hidden links, mysterious connections, secret relationships. This is almost extraordinary. So why I put an advice with just her? We're surely obliged now to explore this further. Not guilty. Put in a posh little accent there. Quite right. We can't let this trial come to an end now. Not while there's this cloud of suspicion hanging over the yard's best coroner. It wasn't like this back in my day, but we're still here to uphold justice in the end. I put like 20 different accents to that one point. Okay, 2 for 1. Not 2 for 1. 2 for 4. It's the professor. That's what links the frightful swindler and the coroner together. Seeing no rigorous proof that the waxwork was ever inside the bird cage, it is conjecture.
Hold it!
But you claimed the whole instantaneous kinesis demonstration was a trick. I did. But there's more than one way to pull a rabbit out of a hat in there. Sorry? I grant you, given that this cage appeared from amidst the explosion, there'd have been no need to use a real person. But if a waxwork had been used, the culprit could at least have had the decency to make it look like the victim. I'm not sure exactly how much criminals are governed by decency. The point is, if you're going to make a claim about that waxwork being inside the birdcage, you need to give us some evidence. Without that, it's just not science. I suppose we should expect nothing less than a logical argument from a fellow of the Royal Society. But that perhaps it means his mind could be changed if we manage to present suitable evidence. Evidence that the Professor waxwork was inside that birdcage. Can I produce that or not? Yeah. We have evidence. Actually, I have something I'd like you to see, sir. Oh? I must warn you that I firmly believe it's only wise to trust men in white coats. So giving you a jet black outfit, I don't mind admitting to a sense of trepidation here. So you don't trust anyone in black? Looking in the mirror must be very trying. You do have some evidence that proves the waxwork was inside that birdcage. Namely, we do. We have this, which was found in the Professor waxwork and belongs to the Crystal Tower. And my glasses are very annoying me. Headphones and glasses, slightly very annoying, especially like here-ish, like on the ears. What's that? A piece of glass? Though it's unusually thick for glass. Yeah, it's a piece of broken glass that we found inside the jacket on the waxwork. As you say, it's not ordinary glass though, it's very thick, clearly made for extra strength. Much like the special glass that was developed for the construction of the Crystal Tower. Crystal Tower? Holy smoke! You just realised. Exactly, the centerpiece of the Great Exhibition where the very incident we're talking about took place. On the day in question, the birdcage fell from above and smashed through a window of that special glass. From whence this small piece originated? Inside? Precisely. So, what do you say? Now that clear evidence in support of the assertion that has been placed before you. Well, as I said, I only trust men in white coats as a rule. However, when the reasoning is sound, it's fair to say colour shouldn't come into it. In light of what you've shown me here, yes, I feel obliged to change my position on the matter. In that case, during number 4, you will amend your statement now, please. The presence of that piece of glass leaves me in little doubt that the waxwork was inside that birdcage.
Objection!
Those two statements clearly contradict each other. Good gracious, to whose statements do you refer, counsel? If you could put down your card for a moment during number 5. Oh, you mean me? You pointed out that it's wrong to make an accusation without evidence, but the accusation that the waxwork model was inside the second birdcage on the day in question is no without supporting evidence, as the defense demonstrated to the juror sitting beside you. Oh, is that right? Would it be fair to say you didn't follow the argument? I don't understand much besides Colonel Cobb, to be honest. Okay. Of course you don't. And I'd say very well, let me interject. If I could interject here, this chair is actually quite, like, I've slightly broken the arms with it. I'm like, they're not like broken, but you know, they're like, they jiggle a bit, you know. Let me show you. Can I show you? I can show you this one. It moves a bit, see? So, yeah. A little bit more room in it. Please do, sir. Now that this assertion of yours about the waxwork has been backed up by some solid evidence, it would be wrong of me as a man of science not to pursue the matter further. Oh! Ah well, me too then. Sorry? If this brainy gentleman says he's right, then he must be. See, I wouldn't dream of going against Colonel Cobb or anyone who's got stuff in between the ears. Ooh. That's too guilty for not guilty? Success! If you can call it that. Thank you, counsel. That'll do. As a result of the summation examination, the jury's overall leaning has changed. 2 jurors are now called guilty, against 4 who got not guilty. Accordingly, the court has failed to reach a consensus at this time, and the trial must continue. We did it! Woohoo! Well done, Mr. Narhada. Another wonderful victory. So now it's just juror number 1 and juror number 3 who says guilty. I wax work of the despicable professor who's used as a body double for the victim in this quite extraordinary case. I must say, it's extremely hard to believe the assertion could possibly be true. However, it would appear that it does at least warrant further investigation. It's a waxwork of the professor that links Mr. Drebber and Dr. Side. I am convinced that there's a special significance to that link. I don't know what you're hoping to prove, lad. I really don't. The truth, sir. By using evidence and testimony. If the court is to delve deeper into the alleged involvement of the waxwork in this case, then the prosecution calls for the owner of the model to be summoned as a witness. Ooh, Psssttt. The owner? I really like Pssst's design, actually. Madam Psssttt. I really thought that Lord Van Zieks would object to this whole line of inquiry. Very well, I concur. Make arrangements for Madam Psssttt to appear as a witness with immediate effect. Listen carefully, my learned friend. Yes? Oh, yeah? You should know that you're on the brink of opening Pandora's box. Okay. Yeah, I'm down for that. What did he say? Excellent, let's go through it. I was not paying attention at all. I was going through my audio sources. The court shall now adjourn for 45 minutes. I didn't read that last thing he said. During that time, the prosecution will summon a new witness and prepare her for taking the stand. Madam Psssttt, yes. I shall see to it at once, my lord. Wow. Bam, bam, bam. To be continued, and that's the first part of the trial done. So now all we've got is part 2 of the trial. So I'll go to my musical a little bit. Save my progress, yes. Yes, save complete. Back. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. We're back in the building. The Knight Errant himself. Have you been watching from the gallery, Mr. Shons? I've been on the edge of my seat the entire time. Courtroom trials are fascinating affairs. As a spectator, at least. I'm glad you've been enjoying yourself. And here's a hairbrain, our beloved client. I have to ask, what on earth is going on? It makes no sense. What's this professor business all about? It doesn't look like any professor I've met before. Who even is he? Of course. You were in Germany already 10 years ago. Yeah, the professor. When I discovered he was the one who had been abducted, a sense of foreboding stirred within me. And yes, I'm just sitting wordless on my chair. But who knew the monster would come knocking at your door? My heartfelt sympathies. As it turns out, Lord Van Zieks is even more intimately tied to this case than any of us realized he is. Yeah, how true. His great friend from university in the dock, and now a waxwork of the killer who took his esteemed brother's life makes an appearance too. I completely forgot the professor killed his brother. What was it like? I can't remember his brother's name at all. What was it? What was his brother's name? Okay. Clint Van Zieks. Clint, that's his bloody name. That's his name. just completely forgot his name. But yeah. I imagine even the shrewd Mr. Reaper failed to foresee that kick in the teeth. An extraordinary move on your part, my dear fellow, to throw that in front of the man. You make it sound deliberate. I can't help feeling that this professor case is really puzzling. Oh yeah, in what particular manner? Well, there's Mr. Drebber, Dr. Seth, and Lord Van Zeeks. Yes? Yeah? It seems that everybody in the trial has a link to the case somehow. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. In fact, I alone am not a member of the set. Though that leaves me as an empty set all alone with no intersection to each other. Yeah, I mean, think about it. The only people that aren't involved with this case, that aren't, let me rephrase, the only people not involved with the professor case that are involved with the Aspen case is Ryunosuke, Psssttt. I don't know about Sholmes and Gregson. Maybe not. And Hairbrain. And then the judge, I assume the judge prosecutes basically like almost every murder trial. So, yeah. My dad just came out of my room asking. I stole my dad's charger earlier because, for a little bit of context, my sister took my key for my mum's earlier, and I'd like left like a bunch of my stuff at my mum's, like my charger, not because I stayed at hers last night. I left like my charger and my headphones at hers, and I was like, oh, I need to go to mum's, but I was like, oh, I don't know if she's in or not. So I like called her and she was like, oh yeah, no one's, oh, we're out at Spoons. So yeah, I couldn't get my stuff, so I had to steal my dad's phone to charge mine, because mine was at like, what, 30%? So yeah. I don't even remember what I was talking about before my dad came in. Excuse me? Oh, it's Scythe. I really like her design. That's Scythe. This almost fell all over me this second. Ah, Dr. Scythe, Nee Stevens. Good day to you. Hello, Sholmes. That was very shrewd of you. What in particular, right? You requested that 10-year-old autopsy from Gregson, didn't you? How would you assume such a thing? Because Gregson told me. To think it's been 10 years. 10 years in the laboratory wielding my scalpel. I saw nothing but corpses and disinfectant. A policeman on the jury had a lot to say about you as it happens, Dr. Scythe, and I've accused you of being complicit in what happened. I'm hoping that you'll take the stand and tell the truth about what really happened. That certainly won't be possible. What? Lord Van Zeeks won't be summoning me as a witness. Lord Strongheart has forbidden it. What? A strong car? What is strong car getting involved? He never usually get involved. Even with all the cases surrounding Giselle Brett, he never. But then again, those were in Japan. Never mind. No, I was going to bring up that he never got involved with the Giselle Brett cases, but both of those trials happened in Japan, so of course he wouldn't get involved in Japanese courts when he's in Britain. The Pandora's box you were warned about is the professor's case. But please, don't make the mistake of thinking you'll get any information about it out of me. But attempting to hide from the truth, that's cowardice. I've always fought crime in the way that I see fit. I have no regrets, none at all. And that's all I came here to say. So, good day to you. Okay. Scythe. What the fuck? Why? She mentioned it too, this Pandora's box. Whatever does it all mean? There's really no cause for concern, I assure you. When the trial resumes, the meaning will become all too apparent whether you'd like it to or not. Huh? Now then, I believe it's almost time. I must make my way back to the public gallery. The edge of my seat awaits. I think maybe you're enjoying yourself a little too much. Yeah, just a little too much. Oh yeah, one other warning before I go. If in the course of the trial this afternoon, you perceive even a shadow of doubt about the truth, don't let it out of your sight. Pursue it like a dog with a bone. Okay. That's what we're gonna do anyway. So to the bitter end, you understand? Do not falter, whatever may come to pass. Alright, I understand. Thank you. Good. I shall now make myself scarce again. I purchased a bar of caramel earlier, so I shall be knowing on that as you know away at the truth. Did you just present something that said caramel bar that said Sholmes is caramel? What did that warning from Mr. Sholmes really mean, I wonder? Especially the bit about whatever may come to pass. Suspicious indeed. It's time for the final chapter then. I'm determined to find the truth, no matter what. Let's go. What? To spell's testimony to do. But to spell's testimony. I completely forgot that the waxwork was there in the fucking thing. I just completely forgot. In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby reconvene the proceedings of this court. Counsels for the defense and prosecution, are you ready and able to continue? The prosecution is ready, my lord. Yes, my lord. The defense is also ready. And the court is aware the case under our scrutiny began with a damaging incident at the Great Exhibition. We now find ourselves embroiled in the details of a convicted felon who was sent to the gallows a decade ago. This trial has certainly defied all expectations, as seems to be the fate of all trials in which this Nipponese is involved, my friend, my lord, even. So then, let us begin our exploration of the defence's assertion that the waxwork was cardinally involved in this matter. Lord Van Zeeks. My lord, are we still awaiting the arrival of Madame Tusspels? Not at all. She's in the antechamber as we speak and ready to be summoned. Let's go. Very well. Bring in the witness. At once, my lord. Bailiff, show Madame Tusspels to the stand. Things are about to become a lot more intense. If Trevor is responsible, as I'm sure he is, it means he must have an accomplice in Dr. Scythe. And what connects the pair of them is the waxwork. Yeah, the one of the professor. That's the key to the link between these otherwise unrelated individuals. It's a tenuous link, admittedly, but at present it's all we have to go on. Do we have? I'm gonna look it up because I don't care. Will the the professor have his identity revealed, or will he just lay cold? Will it just lay cold? Let's see. I don't know. I don't know. Oh yeah, it does. It does. Never mind. Okay, I just slightly spoiled it for myself, but I don't know how exactly it will play through. I don't know how exactly it will like play out because I just skimmed through it. But yeah, I slightly started it for myself. So yeah, let's go. Here she is, building a sculpture of Sherlock Holmes. State your name and occupation for the court, please. I mean, obviously it'll be of Sherlock Holmes because he was her like temporary wax exhibit. I'm gonna sneeze. My name is Madame Esmeralda Tispels. I'm a waxwork artisan and the proprietress of the Madame Tispels Museum of Waxwork. Keep sneezing. You'll have to pardon me for working as I testify. My new exhibit must open very soon. Sherlock Holmes? Oh, so he finally gets a statue, does it? There's a Tillum in the world. Oh my, what expression is she carving onto that face? A number of days ago, a particular waxwork model was stolen from your museum. Can you confirm this? Oui, that is true. At first, we believed it had been kidnapped. A waxwork model? Kidnapped? Yes, my lord. There was a demand for ransom money left behind by the culprit. However, according to what I have just been told outside the courtroom, that was not the true reason. I understand it was utilised as a substitute for the body of a murder victim. At present, that is no more than conjecture proposed by the defence. This is the victim of the case in question, Mr. Odie Asmund. But of course, I know him very well. He is a part of my odious personages exhibit. I detest to say what is evident, but Mr. Asmund does not resemble the professor at all. Then why was the professor statue used instead of the statue of Asmund? That makes no sense unless it's a case of, oh, Asmund was not the intended victim? Yeah, but perhaps their faces are very similar. Are you suggesting that we should see now the demasked visage of the professor? It's going to be a blank face, isn't it? I have here the key, but it is strictly forbidden to open the lock. This is absurd. Pardon? I don't know what face you've carved onto your fancy figure beneath that mask, but clearly it won't be that of the actual killer. Indeed, the man's identity was never made public after all. The trial took place in a closed court. The proceedings were strictly confidential. The condemned man was summarily executed. His identity remains a closely guarded national secret. There's no possible way that a repository of tawdry exhibits could get its hands on that information. Quote Damage. It would seem that you are unaware of the Tispels' principles. What principles? The family Tispels has always prided itself on sculpting its models à la perfection. Every detail, including the visage, is fashioned with complete fidelity. Et voila, our principles. There's a well-known legend about the Tispels waxworks from the time of the French Revolution. A member of the Tispels family is said to have made a waxwork of the queen who was executed. Wait, that is true. It was a century ago now. I believe the queen's face was carved into the minutes following her death at the guillotine site. Wait, when was the French Revolution? Because this just gives us like a canon date. 1789 to 1799. Okay, so this gives us like a more closely, this gives it between the. Wait, no, this gives us like a canon year. This gives us a canon year for the Great Ace Attorney. It was from 1789 to 1799, and I assume the sculpture was made like around the time the Queen was executed. So the Great Ace Attorney takes place in like what not 1999, 1899. I know it took place in like the late 1890s. I believe the Queen's face was carved in the minutes following her death. Actually, the guillotine site. Wait, this gives us a canon year. This gives us a canon year, I think. This gives us a canon year. That the Great Ace Attorney takes place. Wait, who was the Queen that was executed during the French Revolution? I do not know that much about the French Revolution. I'm gonna be so real. Of course it was Marie Antoinette. And she was executed on October 16th, 1793. So it wasn't 1799. But yeah, this gives us a canon year for the Great Ace Attorney. 1893. That is kind of exciting. You are correct. The model is on display still today in the House of Horrors. Rita's spells will stop at nothing to obtain a faithful replica of our subjects. Dear me, a somewhat disturbing tenacity of purpose. It is the only way to obtain a truly lifelike representation of the subject. And it has been my family secret for generations. Do you mean to say that beneath that mask, the true visage of the killer is there? This is ludicrous. It is out of the question. The professor spread terror throughout Great Britain. As a result, the Madame Tussauds special exhibit remains extremely popular even today. The killer emerging from his own grave. It is a sight to behold. You should come. I think, madam, it would be beneficial to hear your formal testimony on this matter. You will explain every detail of this macabre model and your personal involvement in its creation. With pleasure. The special exhibit in the House of Horrors is based on a rumour that shocked society in London. An impression of a visage was taken directly from the corpse in accordance with Tisbell's family principles. I enlisted the aid of the grave digger and created a mold for the head in the cemetery just before the interment. I hid myself until he gave me a signal. I was there for a very long time that night. As dawn approached, I was very worried that I could be discovered. Okay. The gravedigger? The man who sanctioned this? I'll do all that is necessary to achieve the true resemblance my family is celebrated for. Nobody else knew, only the gravedigger. What harm did it do her? So you truly saw it? The face of that monster? Naturally, I was aware at the time that his identity was a secret, but Tussauds would not be Tussauds if we did not insist on absolute fidelity to our sculptures. I don't believe this. I myself have seen the special exhibit at your museums, madam. A truly blood-curdling scene in which the murderer is emerging from his own grave. The scene it depicts was the subject of many rumours in London 10 years ago. I have here a newspaper from the time. The special exhibit was based upon the picture in this article. It was the most detailed account of what happened, as reported by the eyewitness who saw it. Oh yeah, it was Drebber who witnessed it, wasn't it? I completely forgot about that. Man rises from the grave. It's too absurd for words. As the public enjoys absurdity once more. That is why I've reproduced the scene as carefully as possible in my museum. And it's a waxwork from the museum that was stolen from some days before the incident at the Great Exhibition, wasn't it? That is correct. The professor you see before you here. Most puzzling. Counsel for the defense. Proceed with the cross-examination. This waxwork links Drebber to Dr. Side, and there has to be some reason for that which hasn't yet come to light. But I'll find it. I'll get to the bottom of what really happened. I'll prove that Dr. Side and Drebber were in on this crime together. Let's see. Let's save. Let's see. I want to scroll through it like I did in Phoenix Wright. Only downside of this game, they can't scroll through it like in not Great Study. In Phoenix Wright, you can't scroll like in Phoenix Wright.
Hold it!
You were there longer than you expected to be. I had some difficulties in capturing the subject's form correctly. As I removed the mask, the mouth of the cadaver fell open, and I had some problems with the chin. Dare I ask? The man had been dead for a short while already, you see. His muscles were relaxing, and consequently, his chin would not align itself correctly. Oh dear, what a horrible thought. Under normal circumstances, I would have an assistant with me. However, that night I was alone, and as a consequence, missed my preferred window of time. What do you mean? When I take the impression of the visage of a cadaver, I always wait until 3 hours after death. Why 3 hours? Is that amount of time significant? It is because of rigor mortis. Or wriggly mortis? It's the name given to a phenomenon that occurs in recently deceased bodies. As a rule, 3 hours post-death, the muscles in the body begin to stiffen. By approximately 10 hours post-death, the entire body is completely rigid, inflexible, and then from that point on, the muscles slowly start to revert to their relaxed state. The effect is often used to estimate the time of death when a body is discovered. Well, that was an education, if a slightly scary one. I'm checking. Discard paintings. As the mademoiselle says, rigor mortis commences 3 hours after death, and it starts in the jaw. I see. So that's why you wait. Before that time, the mouth falls open, and it is very difficult to do my work. Ugh, it's getting hard for me to do my work with all this talk of corpses. Ryunosuke! That's part of your job? Honestly? You're a defense attorney? Yeah, and you mainly defend people who are accused of murder? So, part of your job. It's part of your job. I wonder about that information the courts just heard from Madame Dispels. It's significant. The information about rigor mortis that you just shared with us, was it already included in your formal testimony? I believe it could be significant, you see. Of course, I do not mind at all. Let's go. How am I feeling that after this latest topic? The atmosphere in the courtroom has become extremely grave. This is the type of jokes we set up. Oh, come on, that was kind of funny. Come on, you're gonna laugh at a joke. Come on, don't be so mean. Madam, kindly amend your testimony as discussed. Be unsure. This was before the onset of rigor mortis. Let's see this.
Objection!
Madam Spells. I have here an autopsy report that was found 10 years ago now. It confirms the death of the professor following his execution at the gallows. And is that a problem? I believe it is, because your testimony and a particular detail in the report completely contradict one another. What? Are you going to explain yourself, my nephew's friends? He always does. Chill out, Benzies. Oh shit, I didn't flick 40 seconds. I didn't even fucking realise. I flicked 40 seconds. According to her testimony, Madame Tussaud was creating her wax impression just before dawn. And at that time, rigor mortis had not set in. Am I correct so far, madam? You are, yes. As I said, the stiffening of the jaw is the first sign of rigor mortis, 2 to 3 hours after death. But the man's chin was limp, so he cannot have been dead for a long time. But on the other hand, if you look at Dr. Syde's report, it quite clearly states the following. Death by hanging, confirmed at midnight, 17th of June. Why are the ads just not running? Why did it just not run? That's weird. No. If the professor indeed died at midnight that day, because he didn't run at 9:30 either, and it's now we're not running at 10:30. Weird. Then by the time you were sculpting his face, rigor mortis would already have set in. Yes, you're right. The chin, it would have been completely stiff. In other words, this report is wrong.
Objection!
No coroner makes mistakes when recording the time of death. The very idea is absurd. In that case, there's only one possible conclusion. The execution didn't actually take place at a stated time. Impossible. He is so dramatic for no reason. Order! Counsel, this is beyond folly. Not only do you indict the author of the report, Dr. Syde, but you also implicate members of the staff at Barclay Prison where the execution took place. Where is my touch screen? There you go. I have my stream of my computer. My hair. Extraordinary.
Objection!
My learned friend appears to have overlooked one very crucial fact. What fact? The professor died that night, without question. He did, of course he did. I'm not saying he didn't die that night, I'm just saying he died at a different time. I moved the monster down. Yeah, the professor died that night. But what if he didn't die at the gallows? Didn't die at... Are you insane? What exactly are you suggesting did happen in that case? It's almost impossible to believe, but it would explain the link between Dr. Syde, the professor, and that one other person of interest. I have evidence that will explain exactly what I'm suggesting happened that night. Counsel, present the evidence at once. The evidence that allegedly explains what really happened on the night of the professor's execution. Okay, I'm gonna present this, cause what if this actually happened and what's just some like folk tale? It wasn't just like something made up.
Take that!
Okay, what happened that night is written very plainly in this newspaper article. Executed criminal returns in the dead at night at local cemetery. You're suggesting it was a corpse coming back from the dead now? Well, if this article is to be believed, yeah. The professor, assumed dead following his execution, emerged from his grave and was killed again. Don't be a fool. That's simply a rumour published by the gutter press. Can you be certain of that? Are you serious? The point is, as the article says, there was a witness to what happened. My word, yes indeed. My The young man who stole into the cemetery by
Objection!
Of course I was a witness. The story didn't write itself, but obviously the man made it all up. And in any case, this was 10 years ago now. There'd surely been a hope of finding him. No, we know who it is. It's Trevor. On the contrary, my lord, we know the witness well. What? Are you suggesting, counsel, that you've identified the person in question? That you know who claims to have seen these utterly incredible events take place? Yes, my lord. In fact, you could say he's right here before my very eyes. That's my dad again. You'll substantiate your... You dropped the thing on the floor. You'll substantiate your latest claim now then, counsel. You dropped the charger thing on the floor. Who is the alleged witness of this staggering scene from the cemetery 10 years ago?
Take that!
The man in question is Mr. Enoch Drebber. Drebber? The previous witness? Yes, indeed. I need to put my iPad to charge, but this case is making it... There we go. The case made it basically impossible. The special exhibit in the House of Horrors at Madame Psssttt's Museum of Waxwork recreates that decade-old scene in great detail. The condemned criminal emerging from the grave, and besides the tomb, a young man with a lantern stumbling upon the terrifying sight. And that young man is a 10-year younger Mr. Enoch Drebber. Order. Surely not counsel. Drebber was there in Lowgate Cemetery? What is all this talk about Mr. Drebber? Is the name significant? Of course, Madame Psssttt doesn't know, does she? Yes, it's extremely significant, madam. To your situation as well, in fact. What situation? The theft of the Professor Waxwork from your museum some days ago was perpetrated by the very same man. None. But that would mean... Madame Psssttt. It would appear you know the name, Enoch Drebber. Yes I know, but from long ago in the past. What? Oh my. Good gracious. Explain yourself. Tell us everything you know. Yeah, of course. Okay. Witness testimony. No, witness testimony. The story of the young man and the terrible sight he witnessed in the cemetery 10 years ago was published in every single newspaper in London and throughout Great Britain. However, in all the articles, the witness was simply described as a certain young man. No details were published about his identity. His name was never revealed. That is, apart from in one newspaper. The Daily Circus is the paper from which comes the article I have already shown the core. Okay, Daily Mail. You're saying that his full name was only publicised in that article. Goodness me, yes, here it is. The university student who experienced this shocking event is Mr. Enoch Drebber, a disciple of science at the University of London and a resident of its student dorms. Unbelievable. When I read the article, I went to meet with the man. His discovery of the condemned criminal comes back to life in the cemetery in the dead of night would make a perfect exhibit for my House of Horrors, whether it was the truth or not. I see, so you went to meet Mr. Drebber in order to sculpt a waxwork on the man, did you? Exactly. He was studying science at the University of London in those days. He was just a poor student. I paid him £5 to model for the waxwork. And since that time, it has been in my museum to recreate the scene of terror from the cemetery even. Dun, 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 dun. So, 10 years ago, a young man appealed to the public about an extraordinary event he witnessed. A criminal who had been put to death re-emerging from his grave in the middle of the night. But the public treated his claim as nothing more than an amusing anecdote that was soon forgotten. 10 years later, the same man steals a waxwork model of the executed criminal, ostensibly to use as a body double for the victim in the case we're discussing here today. Even though the waxwork's build is a poor match with the victim and its face is obscured by a mask. So the question is, why did the man do such a thing? Which brings us to 3 days ago, when the birdcage crashed into the Crystal Tower. If the birdcage had in fact contained not the body of Mr. Aspen, but that same waxwork, the coroner from Scotland Yard who investigated Dr. Scythe would have noticed immediately. And yet, she submitted this autopsy report for the victim, which the court had seen earlier. Why? Because the waxwork was that of the professor, is that what you're saying? Dr. Scythe put her name to a document confirming the death of a condemned criminal who was still alive, a criminal whose apparent resurrection was witnessed by Mr. Drebber even. But that misconduct was a deadly secret the coroner would do anything to protect, which is precisely why Mr. Drebber used that particular waxwork as the polymer body double. Okay. Still certainly don't get it, but whatever. My lord, this court must summon Dr. Scythe to the stand. The defense is determined to find out exactly how the coroner and Mr. Drebber are connected. But according to the missive I've received this morning through the prosecutor's office, Dr. Scythe is unable to participate in these proceedings. Is that not the case? She told us herself, didn't she? Oh yeah, she did, didn't she? Lord Van Seeks will be summoning me as a witness. Lord Strongheart has forbidden it. Lord Strongheart? The Pandora's box you were warned about is the professor case. But please don't make the mistake of thinking you'll get any information about it out of me. Okay. Something happened on the night of that killer's execution 10 years ago, and surely nobody would want to get to the bottom of that more than Lord Van Seeks. Yeah, exactly, that's his brother's killer, so the prosecution calls for the instructions in that missive to be scrapped. But Lord Van Seeks, the missive was issued from the Lord Chief Justice's office. The assigned prosecutor has the final say on policy in any particular trial. In other words, me. Yeah. Let Enoch Drebber and Dr. Scythe both take the stand together. Yeah, we need them to. Order. Very well, I will uphold your request. Bailiff, send a subpoena with immediate effect addressed to Dr. Scythe of the Forensic Investigation Team. The woman is then compelled to attend on Her Majesty's orders. Alright then, Enoch Drebber and Dr. Scythe. If they weren't colluding with one another, this crime could never have been committed. I'm just a stone's throw away. I can feel it. The truth behind all this is about to come out. Okay, now we have Enoch, Scythe, and Dispels, about all three of them on the witness stand. Thank you for your attendance at such short notice, Dr. Scythe. I'm disappointed in you, Lord Van Seeks. You've completely betrayed the agreed policy of both Scotland Yard and the prosecutor's office. Betrayal is not in my nature, as long as the truth isn't compromised. If it is, if there's even a hint of wrongdoing, then no matter whom it concerns or disgruntles, I will pursue the matter to the bitter end, as would any prosecutor worth his salt. Real. Mr. Drebber, You took the victim's life by means of a machine that you constructed in your workshop. I'm Dr. Seif. As the investigating coroner, you were the first on the scene to examine the victim's body. It is the belief of the defense that you collaborated with each other and were both complicit in this crime. And where's your evidence? At present, we have no definitive evidence, but we do have a very significant clue. What are you talking about? I'm talking, of course, about the waxwork. This man of the killer known as the Professor, who was sentenced to death 10 years ago. You don't need to tell me. I witnessed the man's execution with my own eyes and officially pronounced him dead. That remains to be seen. Is that so? According to newspaper reports from the time, on the night following his execution, the killer came back to life. Don't waste my time. And the sole witness to that mysterious event was you, Mr. Drebber, wasn't it? If what you saw in the graveyard that night 10 years ago wasn't some chilling fiction called reality, it would make you privy to a very great secret of Dr. Seif's. A secret so profound, it could compel the coroner to agree to collaborate in your evil scheme, in fact. Mr. Drebber, tell the court, tell everyone the truth of what you saw that night in Lowgate Cemetery. Yeah, come on, dude. So he was the student who saw it. You can see the resemblance actually, can't you? With the man of the spells, I mean. Surely he's not going to claim that that's really what he saw, especially not what whoever said. He was a research student at the Uni of London one day. And a bit too clever for his own good, if you ask me. What is it, Seif? No, that's from Enoch. What is it, Enoch? What an interesting twist. When at the time, not one person would take me seriously. Yet now here we are, 10 years later, and suddenly my story matters, and in a court of law too. Very well then, if everyone so wishes. Let's be frank, I'll tell you the truth of what happened that night for what it's worth. So, Mr. Drebber, your testimony please, about the events of that night, 10 years ago. You will tell the court exactly what you stumbled across in Lowgate Cemetery. Yes, of course, as you wish. Witness testimony. The reason I was in Lowgate Cemetery all 10 years ago was a spot of moonlighting, shall we say. It's the illustration that newspaper was based on what I witnessed that night. But thinking back now, I realized I never actually saw the professor. Soon afterwards, I was visited by a young woman who sculpted a model of me from wax that leads to spells. Then I gave up on my dream of becoming a scientist. And it was all because of that newspaper article. The one we have, actually. Wait a minute, you're claiming you didn't actually see the professor now? Of course, you'd have to have a screw loose if you believed a corpse could come back from the dead. But, so you say this article is not worth the paper it's printed on? I think that would describe it perfectly, yeah. If the details in the articles aren't true, it illustrates your argument for why Mr. Drebber and Dr. Seif would have been working together. So he's discrediting himself to cripple my argument? Why is he doing it to weaken his argument? Maybe not to necessarily weaken his argument, but because of something to do with Dr. Seif, actually. Tell me, witness. You claim to have been in the cemetery as some auxiliary business. Can you elaborate? That's right, grave robbing to be precise. As you know, Lowgate Cemetery is at the very of Berkeley Prison. So among students at the university, it had a reputation for being haunted by the ghosts of condemned convicts. Grave robbing, you say? Yeah, exhuming fresh corpses to sell is reasonably lucrative. Of course, I never laid a finger on any valuables buried with the dead. So you were one of the so-called resurrectionists, a particularly unpleasant scourge in society. Actually, my fellows and I went by another name. The repurposers. That is quite beyond the pale. You would invite divine retribution, sir. Yeah, well, I think I suffered in retribution enough. The daily circus eventuated enough my name and put it to print. It caused me a great many headaches. In the end, I had to leave the university. That's the only paper with the bad grades to identify me unambiguously, I might add. I see. Out of interest, who drew the illustration for this article? Ah yes, that was the reporter who exposed me. He sketched out right in front of me as I described the scene. Obviously, as time ticked on, I bitterly regretted what I'd done. Claimed to have seen something I never truly saw. Foolish, very foolish. Well, counsel, for the defense, you may proceed to the cross-examination now. At once, my lord. Cross-examination time. Let's go. Did you actually never see it?
Objection!
This is suspicious. Suspicious indeed. Sorry, Mr. Trevor, I don't believe that. Don't believe what? Your latest claim, you did see the professor that night on that night 10 years ago. Oh dear, we seem to be at odds. I was there, and you were not. I know I didn't see. The illustration of this article was drawn based upon what you told the journalist that you witnessed. A figure emerging from a tomb, wearing an iron mask. Yeah, when the killer was tried 10 years ago, it was decided in the closed court's ruling that the man would wear the mask to hide his identity. It wasn't to be removed even during his execution and subsequent burial. Not even the prison wardens were to see the man's face, but obviously the provisional of this mask was not public knowledge. So, Mr. Trevor, as you've just heard, a lowly student of the University of London certainly wouldn't have known about the condemned man's mask. So unless you'd actually seen the professor that night, it's inconceivable that the artist would have included the mask in that illustration. Okay. Order. Well, Mr. Trevor, this case is starting to lose me a little, but slowly following along. It's a vile scene, isn't it? If you look closely. And as I've already been at pains to point out, I was utterly petrified, which is why I hadn't it in my head that I'd seen such a blood-curdling sight. But afterwards I came to my senses and realized that I'd been mistaken. You're still saying you didn't see it? If you're stubbornly sticking to a story, witness, then amend your testimony to explain exactly how you think your eyes deceived you. Of course. Only too happy to oblige. Can't believe he's still not going to concede his point. What is going on? What I in fact witnessed was a fellow grave robber at work.
Hold it!
A fellow grave robber? What are you talking about? Well, I wasn't the only one busy in the cemetery that night. You know, other body snatchers were at work. Of course, when I saw one emerging from the hole he dug, my heart very nearly stopped. So that's the terrifying sight I actually saw, you see. You're claiming it was just another student on equally insalubrious business as yourself. Many of the medical students would wear metal masks to protect them from bacteria during dissections. Clearly the fellow was using such masks to protect his anonymity, what you say? But there's more to the story, isn't there? The article goes on to say, in the next second, a gunshot rang out suddenly from behind. The bullet pierced the resurrected man's chest, whose breath then stilled once more. We might assume that the sexton discovered the miscreants at work, perhaps, and fired upon one of them. If a grave digger had shot someone in the cemetery, I think it might have been rather big news, my lord. Ah, yeah, well. I can only assume it was an embellishment battled on later by the reporter. Huh?
Excuse me.
What is it, Spells? Madam Spells, don't take it out on Mr. Sholmes. Oh la la, pardon. I was lost in my thoughts. Would it be fair to say that Mr. Drebber's last remark was significant to you in some way? I thought it was a little strange, that is all. How Monsieur Drebber could claim this now, if you don't mind me saying, madam. What are you talking about? Well, when I met you 10 years ago at your university dormitory, you recounted to me about your adventures in the cemetery, none? Including the gunshot. Stop. You might want to watch your tongue, you know.
Objection!
No, to suppose is spilling it all. Have a care, Drebber. There's no way to speak to a lady. Please, Madam Tispels, carry on. Of course. According to what Monsieur Drebber told me at the time, he did hear a gunshot from behind him and the bullet hit the condemned man. I said nothing of the sort. No, you were very explicit about the details. About the mask that the figure was wearing. And the blood that splattered over you when he was shot. Enough. Shut up, woman. You're making all this up. Whoa! That will do. Yeah. Chill out, Mr. Drebber. Yes? You refute the recount just given by Madam Spells? I have no recollection of ever saying those things. Come on, do you really expect us to believe you? Control yourself, counsel. I will not permit baseless accusations in my courtroom. Okay, can all of us just chill the fuck out for like 2 seconds, please? Right. Under the circumstances, I think it's best that you supplement your testimony with a statement to clarify your position on this witness. Very well. There was no gunshot from behind me at all, nor any splattering blood.
Hold it!
That young woman being Madame Spell's course. Precisely. I must say I didn't expect to run into her again like this 10 years later. As I have explained, I went by the name published in the article and Komaka and man. Yeah, the article in the Daily Surface, I think you said. I was a poor student with a barely a penny to my name at the time. And the young lady put a £5 in front of me. So you readily consented to having a waxwork on yourself made and gave permission for it to be put on display. I did. I should sell what little I had concluded. I remember now. I purchased something else from you that day. I did not know how to say that. I don't know how to speak French. Did you? I can't say I remember. What was it, madam? His camera. Oh yeah, I remember I made a point of taking it with me wherever I made an excursion into any cemetery. You took a camera with you, sir? To what end? To record the details of the bodies I disinterred. I had no intention of ever visiting the graveyard again after that night, so I sold it. I see. But I still have it, Francois. It is a part of a special exhibit in my house of horrors. And I am very meticulous about such details. It is the to spell's way. It would seem then that this is the very camera Mr. Trevor took with him to locate cemetery on the night question, aka the one with the blood on it. Yes, interesting. Okay, if there's no blood whatsoever, then what about the camera? Mr. Trevor, do you remember this camera? But that's a camera from that fateful night. Yes, we borrowed it from the House of Horrors. It's the camera you took with you to the cemetery that night, Mr. Trevor. And is that supposed to be significant? This kind of camera is rarely seen in our homeland, so my colleague and I were keen to examine it closely. We noticed that the lens extends forward on the ends of some bellows and like this.
Hold it!
And explain. What's that? They're just on the bellows. It looks like a dark red stain. Ah, that's right. It's a rather conspicuous mark here on the bellows, in fact. Good Lord, are you suggesting? Yes, my lord. It appeared to be a spatter of blood. Something that could be confirmed with a simple chemical test. Isn't that right, Dr. Scythe? It would be difficult to determine if it was human blood or not the blood of some animal. But yes, to test whether or not it's blood at all is simple enough. I propose that Madame Psssttt's testimony was correct, and that underlying question 10 years ago, you were spattered with blood from the gunshot wound. Well, and that furthermore, you really did witness the condemned professor emerging from his tomb. I mean, that was the whole incident that turned your hair grey, wasn't it? Because this guy's like, what, 30s, I think? How old is he? He's 35, so not old enough to have like grey hair. His hair came from like stress. There's simply no way you could have forgotten such a traumatic experience. In other words, the only explanation is that you're trying to hide the fact that you saw the professor that night. But why? Why would you want to do that? Well, not for his own gain, it would seem. For whose then? Who could benefit? Mr. Trevor is obviously lying in order to protect somebody. My goodness, he's shielding someone? Yes, my lord. And clearly, I think we know who this is. It's someone who doesn't want the truth about the professor coming back to life to be exposed. I think we know who this is. This is definitely someone we know. Well, counsel, who is it then? Who is this witness trying to protect by lying about what he saw that night? He's trying to protect Scythe. The obvious answer is Dr. Scythe. Scythe? Whatever do you mean? Imagine if the convict who'd been sentenced to death was not in fact killed. Imagine if that was to come to light. Why are you insinuating? And imagine if the convict in question was the country's most hated mass murderer. If it was the professor, that would be an unprecedented scandal.
Objection!
This is beyond a joke. Need I point out that the dead cannot come back to life? What you suggested would mean that the execution never actually happened. Yes, that's exactly what I mean. Once a man is sentenced to the gallows, he hangs. No one could escape, not even Great Britain. But the fact is, there was a witness to the fact that the man did escape his hanging. If that were really true, counsel, the implications of misconduct would not stop at the supervising coroner. It would tend the honour of the entire judiciary from the ground up. And it's exactly because of those monumental repercussions that Dr. Syph would consent to any demand made of her by someone who threatened to expose the secret, even if that meant being complicit in a crime. You mean? I mean that Dr. Syph wasn't collaborating in Mr. Drebber's wicked scheme. She was coerced in collaborating in order to protect her decade-old secret. She switched the dead body of Mr. Asman with the waxwork model and fabricated the autopsy report. Lord Van Zeeks? Pray forgive my freshly filled hallowed chalice and a whole raft of other discourtesies right now. Goodness me, it's just a sort of tall tale Londoners would enjoy, I grant you. An executed killer rising from the dead, a Scotland Yard cover-up, a conspiracy at the highest levels. Dark Age of the Law? Anyone? Dark Age of the Law? So let me ask you one thing. What's that? If the condemned man really did emerge from his tomb that night only to be shot in the chest, who pulled the trigger and disposed of him forever? Well, I have no idea at the moment. We have too little information to work that out at the present, I think. I couldn't agree more. The Old Bailey is no place for wild fantasies. Ugh. And have you considered this, my Lord Nipponese friend? Considered what? Do you realise just what a dangerous endeavour it would be to coerce this woman in such a criminal activity? It's tantamount to declaring war on the entire British police force and judiciary. Quite. How to imagine any sum of money being offered for research could warrant it. To rely on some stage deception when so much is at stake is, what else did he say, would be madness. Well, I suppose. And this was no petty crime either. The victim was murdered. A man who'd already invested money in the venture and would be instrumental in future profits too. Yes, I had no reason to kill Mr. Asman at all. Are you forgetting that his death results in me not receiving not a single penny? The court is already aware of the contract between myself and the victim, no? We haven't actually looked at a contract, have we? Huh. The investor, Mr. Odi Asman, hereby enters into contract with the provider, Mr. Enoch Drebber, to fund labour and materials for the construction of a super high voltage instantaneous kinesis machine. Mr. Drebber is to receive 30% of all remunerations from government grants or other income. Mr. Drebber may only uphold this right on condition that both contracting parties are alive. Okay. O.D. Asman and then O. Asman and then E. Drebber. There is the contract, that's very true. Yeah. The motive for this case runs deep though. I can feel it. Using threats to force the head of the forensic investigation team to cooperate is extreme, especially for a government grant he had no guarantee of receiving in the first place. If the research grant was the aim, taking Mr. Asman's life would have made no sense anyway, which means Mr. Drebber's motive wasn't money at all. He was just trying to kill Mr. Asman. But why? What was his motive then? What? I completely missed what he said. Your time is up, my lord friend. I'd say you have one last chance before the jury lose their patience with this charade. Let's see if you can back up your heady proposal, shall we? How do you explain why this engineer would throw all caution to the wind and threaten his own country. At this point, I'm not prepared to listen to more of this outlandish conjecture without proof. So, counsel, present your evidence. I'm going to have to present the contract again. Alright, who exactly was Mr. Asmund to Trevor? There's a connection there that no one's seen yet. Now I'm going to have to present 2 pieces of evidence. God, to show what it was. Yeah, my lord. The evidence that establishes a motive and explains why the witness wanted to victim dead is right here.
Take that!
Mr. Trevor, I have here the contract that you signed with Mr. Asmund. Yes, that's right. The very document, in fact. That proves I had no reason to kill the man. Nah. No, I'm afraid not. As it turns out, this contract actually helps to establish the real motive for the murder you committed. It does? Well, I never. What are you talking about? Read it again, you idiot. I'm not finished. In order to demonstrate what your motive really was, I need this contract and one other piece of evidence. What other evidence? Counsel, you'll present your supplementary evidence without delay. The evidence which, when cross-referenced to the contract, establishes a motive for the deed. What? Huh. Indeed. I don't know actually. Let me look on it. Oh, I know.
Take that!
It's this newspaper article, my lord. That was written 10 years ago, and every detail has been examined already. What can it possibly tell us? That drivel should have never been written. It's typical good press nonsense that means
objection.
But there's something significant that this newspaper article and the contract have in common. Really? And it's that common link. Let's examine the thing. Oh, Asmund? It is the signature. That shows very clearly why you were determined to kill Mr. Odie Asmund. It seems the defense has uncovered something the rest of us have missed. So, my little friend, find out what these 2 pieces of evidence have in common. Where exactly is the link between...
Take that!
Shit. Well, if you look to say, I did not mean to click I meant to press T. I meant to press T to open the conversation history, not present it. I'm just here. It's not coming. No. Fuck. Then the paper will do counsel. Just know how I feel. Sure, you've already noticed what the contracts and now have in common. But just in case it slipped your mind, look closely at the illustration. Thank you, Psssttt. Thank you, Psssttt. I think perhaps you'd better try that again. For what God it would do. What exactly is the link between the newspaper and the... what did they say before that? Yeah, what exactly is the link between the newspaper article and the contract? It's here.
Take that!
No, I actually meant to press R. What these 2 pieces of evidence have in common is a signature. A signature? the signature on the illustration that accompanies the 10-year-old article and the signature on the contract belong to the same person. What? As the court has heard, this illustration was drawn 10 years ago by the newspaper reporter who found Mr. Drebber and interviewed him about his ordeal. If you look closely, the reporter's signature can be seen at the bottom right corner of the drawing. And if you look at the contract here, which was signed between the witness and the victim last year, you can clearly see Mr. Asman's signature at the bottom. Can you see now? Good Lord, yes. They're identical. In short, the journalist who drew the illustration and wrote the article published about Mr. Drebber 10 years ago was the victim of this case, Mr. Oni Asman.
Objection!
But explain to the court why. Why would that constitute a motive for the witness to murder Asman? Why would it? Why would it? Well, think back. You remember that Mr. Drebber talked about that article in his testimony. Grave robbing, you say? Yeah, exhuming fresh corpses to sell is reasonably lucrative. That is quite beyond the pale. You would invite divine retribution, sir. Yeah, well, I think I suffered retribution enough. The Daily Circus eventually learned my name and put it in print. It caused me a great many headaches. In the end, I had to leave university. That was the only paper with the bad grace to identify me unambiguously. I might add. And who wrote that? Asman. And then I gave up my dream of becoming a scientist. And it was all because of that newspaper article. All because of Asman. There's your motive. At the time, you were a student of the University of London who jumped to become a scientist. However, this single newspaper article changed your entire life. So Mr. Asman used to be a newspaper journalist, did he? He did, my lord. In fact, it's a widely held belief that Asman managed to position himself at the heart of his criminal network. Thanks to the many dubious connections he made during his time as a reporter. So you had to give up on your dream and leave university. You lost everything. Eventually you found yourself working in the field of science, falling in the shadows, and all because of that article written by Mr. Asman. Enough! What? Stop this endless drivel about my life. What? Explain yourself, Mr. Drebber. Yes, it's true, I had to leave the university as a result of that article. But it was just the straw that broke the camel's back. What do you mean? Almost every student of science in the faculty was too poor to actually conduct any research, but they struggled with their hypotheses anyway. We all did, only to have them taken by vultures. Sooner or later, you knew your ideas would be stolen and patented by some wretch or other. After all, good gracious, making a name for yourself as a scientist in a climate like that was a miracle only a select few geniuses could ever hope to achieve. Personally, I wasn't one of those geniuses, so it was hardly a wrench. Being forced out of university because of low grade was the best thing that could have happened to me. Mr. Drebber, do you genuinely believe that? Of course I do. Who's better placed to know whether or not I possess a talent for science than me? I'm sorry to say that your words don't ring true at all. How dare you? And I have evidence to prove it. How are you in a position to say anything about me? I don't know you from Adam. Fine, if you think you have evidence, go ahead. Show it. What could you possibly have to disprove the idea that I was happy to leave university because I lacked talent? Well, it would be this. You got a science show there. Do you remember this, Mr. Trevor? We found out at your workshop. Is that a Royal Society trophy for excellence in science? What exactly is this trophy, Council? It's the greatest honor that can be bestowed on a young scientist, my lord. There's no higher accolade. It recognizes emerging talent and promises a bright future. Good gracious. Your prospects for the future were excellent, weren't they? Because even then you were a genius in your field. But you lost everything. You had no more future. Your talents would go to waste. All as a result of this one newspaper article. I don't know when you realized who Mr. Asman was, but when it dawned on you that he was the same journalist who 10 years ago ruined your life, it's abundantly clear that you had no intention of forgiving the man. The truth is, go on, tell us the truth. Finally, he's going to forward. Okay, what's going on? Scythe. Ah. Fine. Clearly, this has run its course now. What? I admit it. All of it. What? What are you doing? It's exactly as the Japanese man said. I was coerced into going along with the man's plot to murder the victim, on the condition that he kept my dirty secret from 10 years ago. No. Good lord. Dr. Scythe, do you realize what you're saying, woman? It's all true. That day, when I arrived at the Crystal Tower and saw the birdcage, my heart literally stopped beating. That memory from a decade ago that I'd done my best to bury deep inside myself. It was the professor again, staring me in the face. And then, before I had a chance to react, I noticed something else. There was a note tucked inside the model's jacket. Dr. Scythe, you will go along with my plan. From someone who knows the truth about what really happened that night 10 years ago. Okay. Suspicious. Very suspicious. All the instructions were there in the note. Every detail was meticulously written out. I had no choice but to do what it said. I made the necessary alterations to the scene and fabricated the autopsy report as instructed. There was really no other choice. It had to be done to protect the judiciary. I can only apologize now. Why on earth would you buckle now? Well, there's no point trying to hide it anymore, is there? I would have done anything to stop it coming out, even collaborating in murder. And in 5 minutes, guys, and in 5 minutes. But the great lie about that execution 10 years ago has been exposed. Hopefully this side will actually play this time. Whatever happens, I'm finished. So then, Mr. Drebber, what do you say to that? Your accomplice has admitted everything. Surely it goes without saying. You admit your part in it too. I'm sorry, my hair below my headphones. I admit nothing at all. What? Have you forgotten that the kinesis machine was ripped to shreds by an explosion? Sure, me admitting to a crime, there's really no possible way for you to prove I did anything wrong. This guy is definitely guilty. This guy is so guilty. Order. Whatever this man says, I admit everything. He threatened to expose my secret, so I went along with his plan. And Lord Van Zeeks? Yes? I hope you'll accept my apologies. What happens next is in your hands, of course. I have heard more than enough now. I hereby present the final findings of this court. This trial is not the proper forum in which to... Dying, oh my god. This trial is not the proper forum to which to pursue the alleged wrongdoings of Mr. Trevor. The defendant is Professor Albert Harebrain. Forgot about that! Very true, it's my man. So it's my man as well, so... Isn't he one of your closest friends? As the court has heard, Dr. Seifert has admitted to the alleged allegations brought by the defense, thereby absolving the defendant of any possible guilt. You mean, at the present time, it is the conclusion of this court that the defendant was not involved in any wrongdoing. Ooh, does the prosecution have any objection? Of course it's not going to have any objection. None, my lord. Congratulations, Mr. Naruhodo. You've proven Professor Harebrain's innocence. Without further ado, the education. Unless the prosecution or defense have any other matters to discuss. I don't know. This doesn't feel quite right. Why did Dr. Seif suddenly admit to it like that? Is everything alright, Mr. Naruhodo? Like he said, the way the trial is set to end now, the judge will certainly deliver a verdict of not guilty. But is that really what we want? What the defense should be pushing for now is... further testimony from Scythe.
Objection!
The defense objects to the trial ending at this time, my lord. I beg your pardon. We demand one final testimony. What? You do realize I'm about to advocate in favor of your client, I presume. Why are you playing that now, my Nepalese friend? Why would you want to obstruct the conclusion of the trial at this point? No defense lawyer in his right mind would do that. Mr. Naruhodo, what exactly are you thinking? The truth, the whole truth, and the way to bring it all out in the open? Right. Yes, in hindsight. Yes, one word of warning before I go. If in the course of this trial this afternoon, you perceive even a shadow of doubt about the truth, don't let it out of your sight. Pursue it like a dog with a bone. Okay, so what Shom's saying is coming back to us. To the bitter end, you understand? Do not falter, whatever may come to pass. Okay. And it's starting soon. I'm sure Mr. Sholmes knew. He must have deduced that this would happen. Yes, I'm here in court to advocate for my client and to secure an acquittal. Obviously. But that's not all. I believe that I have a duty to the court to pursue the whole truth of the case until every last detail is laid bare. And that is why the defense calls for further testimony from Dr. Scythe. Testimony from me? About what? About the nature of your collaboration with Mr. Enoch Drebber. In case it's escaped your attention, I've already admitted to everything I did, and the ad is in progress. The first ad of the second ad of the stream. First one was during the Science 2 screen. I really like her design. She has a cool design. This is very cool indeed. I haven't stretched in a while. Okay, and I just finished soon. I shall finish in like 10 seconds. I am a very fidgety person. As you can probably tell. 3, 2, 1. And welcome back from the interlude, everyone. Welcome back. In any case, in case it escapes your attention, I've already admitted to everything I did. The whole truth has already been revealed. So stop wasting everyone's time. As his lordship made very plain, your client will get the acquittal you wanted for him. There's simply no point protracting this business further with another tedious cross-examination. But you were just wasted it. Pray forgive my careless handling of that hallowed bottle. I slipped. That's what you call it? What is your objection, Lord Van Zeeks? The prosecution also calls for supplementary testimony from the witness. Don't be stupid. He needs to know. There's more to this case than that has yet to come to light. Then I will join my learned friend in pursuing the facts until the bitter end. You what? Lord Van Zeeks? This is most irregular to say the least. However, as the prosecution also calls for it, I will hold up the request. Dr. Seif, you will testify before the court, explain the full extent of your involvement in the murder apparently committed by Mr. Drebber. Aye. Very well. Witness testimony. I think this is our last witness testimony of this case, actually. It all began at a scene when I saw the waxwork and the note tucked inside its jacket. The actual body of the victim, as indicated in the note's instructions, was beneath the experimentation stage. The body had to be arranged in certain ways to implicate the defendant, which was my job. I enlisted the help of the entire forensic investigation team to dress the scene appropriately. The truth about the execution 10 years ago is a state secret of the highest level. I had to protect it. Okay. So I was right. The stage and the machine were all specially designed for the deception. So it seems, and all meticulously prepared. You did well to see through it. You're a very shrewd boy. So kind of you to say. And what about this autopsy report then? All I did was record the location of the body as being in the crystal tower instead of under the stage. That's all. There's a terrible corruption. Only my team were aware of the deceit, and then only under my explicit instructions. Nobody else at Scotland Yard knew anything about it, I assure you. We must be thankful for small mercies, I suppose. Well, I believe that testimony has clarified everything. There's no particular need for a cross-examination, I would say. No, I disagree. I can't shake the feeling that something's wrong. Just look at that expression on Dr. Seif's face. It's the defense's right to cross-examine any witness following testimony. What is it about you Japanese, and that makes you also doggedly, I don't know how to pronounce that, I can't be bothered, persistent? Very well, if you so desire, counsel, proceed with the cross-examination. Yes, my lord. Cross-examination time. And then press to save. There we go. Okay. Move along. There's only one I want to look at, and that is testimony. Well, not testimony, but the ring.
Hold it!
Statement 3. whatever it's called. When you say arranged, I presume you mean with this. Yeah, the instructions in the engineer's note said something along the lines of fabricate some evidence to make it clear that hairbrain alone could have killed Asmund. Asmund. So you mean that was your doing? I fetched Hairbrain's ridiculous screwdriver from the stage and took it with me alone to the abyss under the stage where the birdcage had fallen. Alone, Doctor? I didn't feel it would be appropriate to involve anybody else in that particular part of the deception. Okay. There was a void under the stage where I found the birdcage lying in the dirt. Okay, so she was just making sure he was dead, basically. I approached it, leaned down and slowly opened it up. Then, I took the screwdriver in both hands and plunged it into the man's chest. And then you noted that in your fake autopsy report as a fictitious cause of death. Exactly. So, the actual cause of death was the trauma resulting from the 30-foot drop. My word. Okay. So it wasn't actually the stabbing then from hemorrhage. It wasn't actually a hemorrhage death then. What is it, Mrs. Sato? Something about that Sipes' last statement. It's playing in my mind, that's all. Yeah, mine too. Dr. Sipes. There's really no need to shout. I can hear you perfectly well. Your defense calls for you to add what you just said to your formal testimony. Oh? Which part? What I want her to supplement her testimony with is what we just heard, the real cause of death. So, what she did to the victim. How you stabbed Mr. Aspen in the chest, that part. Fine, if that's what you want to hear. But it's really no need to point. The prosecution concurs. Sipes is just pissed that he's pointed to. Very well. You will supplement your testimony now, witness. He just did that to piss her off, basically. If you wish, my lord. I stood over the victim's corpse where it lay, in the top caged, and plunged the screwdriver into his chest. Let's look at his body and the photo of the victim. Because it's like slightly off, I guess. Like, chest would be more in the middle.
Objection!
I've got a nasty feeling that this inconsistency points to an extremely uncomfortable truth. What on earth is the matter, counsel? Have you lost your tongue? I apologize, my lord. Dr. Sipes, in that last statement of yours, there's just one point that seems to defy explanation. Out with it, my learned friend. There's an obvious inconsistency between your description and this photograph, which shows the victim in the birdcage following the events that led to his death.
Objection!
The court has already examined that photograph in depth. There's nothing new we can learn from it. Yeah, we have already considered it, and that's true. But we now know the facts to be different. What do you mean? I believe we should let the defense explain. Where in this photograph would we see the alleged inconsistency with the witness's statement? That'd be the stab wound, right? Look closer at the bloodstain on the victim's chest. It clearly extends in a downwards direction towards someone's feet. And why is that significant, counsel? If the victim was stabbed moments before the kinesis machine was set in motion, that's entirely expected. Of course, no, that's not what happened. Exactly, my lord. Dr. Seif made it very clear in her testimony just now that the point at which she stole Professor Harebrain's screwdriver and stabbed the victim was after the grand deception was set in motion, when the birdcage had fallen below the stage outside. From the shape of it, it's clear that the birdcage would have fallen on its side after the 30-foot drop. And if the victim had really been stabbed whilst inside the birdcage in that position, the blood from the wound would have spread out equally in all directions. For it to have formed the longitudinal appearance we see in the picture is inconceivable. Oh, that went in a different direction than I was expected, but whatever. Given that the victim's blood seeped vertically downwards from the wound, it must be the case that when you stabbed Mr. Asman, he was standing up. In short, Dr. Seif, the latest testimony was a total fabrication. Okay. Okay, what? Just tell us the truth already, Seif, please. I knew it. I was right. Now I've identified that contradiction. There's only one way to explain the facts. We've all been under a great misapprehension here. What? What sort of misapprehension? Dr. Seif? You claim you are coerced into helping Mr. Drebber as a result of the note he left in the waxwork. You claim that you made changes to the scene of the crime to implicate the defendant. You claim that you offered a fake autopsy report to cover your tracks. But one of those claims is an out-and-out lie. Because the question of what the bloodstain really tells us has only one possible answer. If that's the case, what is it, man? Counsel, you've clearly struck upon a revelation. Now tell the court what it is. Which part of Dr. Seif's story is shown to be a lie by the contradiction in her testimony? The stabbing of the victim. The answer is very simple if you consider the sequence of events. If when the victim was stabbed, the blood from the wound seeped downwards as it did, we can be sure that the victim must have been either sitting or standing upright at the time. But you've rightly pointed out the birdcage would have fallen on its side when it fell beneath the stage. Yeah, it would. Which tells us that the victim must have been in that position of his own accord.
Objection!
That's impossible. The man was dead, remember? Maybe he's just unconscious. No, that is the misapprehension. When the birdcage fell from the stage into the void below, it must have hit the ground with considerable force. But Mr. Asman didn't die in the fall. He probably lost consciousness for a while, like I said, but when he came round, he got to his feet to climb out of the cage, just as Dr. Seif appeared. If the victim was in fact alive at that point in time, it changes everything. Yeah, Drebber. Mr. Odie Asman's killer wasn't the defendant, Professor Albert Harebrain, nor was it the mastermind behind the stage trickery, Mr. Anak Drebber. It was you, Dr. Courtney Seif. We finally found her out. Order. Can this possibly be true? Have you been taking me for a fool? It was you, was it? You killed him? Yeah, he thought you killed him, but obviously it was Seif. You will hope that by admitting to being an accomplice in Mr. Drebber's scheme, the trial would end before you are accused of a far worse crime. Cold-blooded murder. Oh, do shut up. You're so desperate now you're making all of this up, as if I would do something like
Objection!
that. I assure you, your defense is not desperate, Doctor. Mr. Narhoddle has established the facts using evidence and logic alone. Ha, logic. Don't make me laugh. Suddenly your logic has a gaping hole in it. What? What do you mean? I thought it was obvious. I'm motivated by you lacking a motive. What possible reason would I have to kill Mr. Asman? Asman was involved in any number of criminal activities, from coercion to theft to murder. But there is no known connection to Dr. Scythe there. I'm relieved to say it does seem somewhat far-fetched. True, there's no obvious motive, but there's still something in the back of my mind. I feel sure I've seen something somewhere that hints at why the coroner might have done this. Yeah, I might have tampered with the crime scene and concocted a fake report, but murdering someone for no reason is a very different story. No, when you questioned what possible reason you could have wanted to kill Mr. Asman, something did come to mind. What? What was it, counsel? Enlighten the court at once. Yeah, we saw it yesterday, didn't we? Something that seemed strange, but we had no reason to suspect it at the time. There's a particular object that explains why Dr. Scythe would have wanted to kill Mr. Asman. Is this maybe? It's a scalpel, or rather, scalpels. Did you say scalpels? I don't remember this, but whatever, I just guessed. It would appear that the word had struck a chord, Doctor. Come on, out of it. It was yesterday when we visited your laboratory. Look at this big thick book here. Alright, it appears to be an accounting ledger. It's a record of the forensic investigation teams spending anything. Oh yeah, I remember this now. They spent so much money on like 500 scalpels. I'm like, what is it? It's clear that the team purchases various equipment and supplies on a monthly basis, but one entry seems rather strange. Really? In what way? They're buying 500 scalpels every month. I completely forgot that they just did that. 500 scalpels a month. At first I wondered what on earth you could be using that many scalpels for. But actually I realised it's not the scalpels themselves that are significant. It's the money for them. It's appearing every month from the department's accounts. Interesting. Asman's criminal organisation relied heavily on extortion for its funding. Tracing the money from the forensic investigation team's account to find out where it was going would be extremely straightforward. Ugh. 10 years ago, when Mr. Asman was still a journalist and wrote this article about Miss Drebber, he may very well have stumbled upon information as he was researching the story. Information related to Dr. Scythe's darkest secret that he would use to rack money from her for the next decade. A darkest secret? Good lord, you mean? I don't know what happened on the night of that execution 10 years ago, but clearly the opportunity to rid yourself of that menace was too tempting to pass up. So in the end, you weren't coerced at all, weren't you? You did it entirely of your own free will. You stabbed Mr. Asman in the heart with all your might. To silence the blackmailer who knew your darkest secret forever. You'll never understand. None of you. Explain. Well, we've had to keep cover up all these years. The judge kind of looks like a jolly Father Christmas. Well, not so jolly, but you know. As very little of the machine remains after it was ripped apart by the bomb, the truth of this case can never be properly established unless you speak out. And if you decide not to, It's very possible that Courtney Sykes will escape a punishment for her crimes. Please, sir, own up to what you've done and tell the court the truth about what happened. 10 years ago, you told the truth, and you were robbed of a bright and successful future as a result. I can certainly understand your bitterness and your consternation now. However, this is surely the chance you've been waiting for, to sever the hold that fate's had over you all these years. Super high voltage instantaneous cases? I mean, really? What? It's the adult brain mock scientists that are the worst, you know. They don't recognize the fact that they don't have talent. They can't even get that right. And so they end up chasing impossible dreams, having unbridled faith in their abilities. And then they go on and on about their wonderful hypotheses, their stupid eyes shining like a little child's. They make me sick. I can't abide their foolishness. Careful, Mr. Drebber. I was particularly pleased with the kinesis machine. It's made for quite a show, didn't it? So you admit it. You admit that it was nothing more than a sham made for the purpose of killing the victim? Yeah, I admit it. I did it all in the name of revenge. Revenge for the future that Mr. Aspen's article had deprived you of 10 years earlier. But the revenge you saw didn't stop at Aspen, did it? Which is where that very particular waxwork comes in. Yeah, I see. The condemned convicts that you saw rising from the grave in Lowgate Cemetery 10 years ago. If your account of those events was all true, then obviously Scotland Yard couldn't afford to acknowledge what happened. Even if it meant discrediting a bright young man and crushing any future career he might have had. So your plan required that you abduct that particular waxwork model in order to exact your revenge on Scotland Yard as well, or on Dr. Sykes to be precise. It was a year ago. By some extraordinary twist of fate, Aspen turned up at my workshop. He didn't remember who I was, of course. He just wanted to employ my services as an engineer. And he happened to have a paper with him. An article on the front page caught my eye about the coroner who handled that bogus autopsy being appointed head of a new forensics team. And when I learned the news, my cognitive processes started to devise the plan. What a horrid talent. What a horrid tale, even. He robbed me of my future, so I wanted to use the man's own wiles against him for revenge. And I have that rotten Scotland Yard eating out of my hand at the same time. I wanted them all to suffer the same humiliation I had to suffer. I just realized the buttons on his suit are like little positive and negative signs, and I think that's great. I think that's a good design choice. I think they look cute. I think they look great. Your actions against those who ruin your future will justify this revenge, at least to yourself. Certainly, no one has the right to destroy another's prospects, especially for purely selfish gain. And yet, in carrying out your plan, you did exactly that to someone else, didn't you? Did I? Professor Harebrain's only crime was passion for his hypothesis, but you had no compunction about sacrificing his future to effect your revenge. I love him stream up because then I can easily go back and say, oh yeah, that's what I meant to say. Because stream delay. You know that he would be forever branded a failure and a fraud. Perhaps life treated you unfairly 10 years ago, and others' misconduct left your life in tatters. But remember this, your own actions resulted in exactly the same thing for another perfectly innocent young man. I. Lord Van Zeeks, what of Dr. Scythe? An immediate warrant for her arrest has been granted and she's been remanded in custody, my lord. I presume she'll face trial in the coming days, along with Mr. Drebber. A most regrettable situation indeed. She's made great contributions to her profession over the years. It really is a hard truth to swallow. However, that is a topic for some future occasion. For now, Professor Hairbrain. Yeah? It seems there was a great deal more to your experiment than meets the eye. And you realised. However, I think we can assume now that all the sordid details have been brought to light. This has been a very long and profound trial, but I'm pleased to say you are absolved of all guilt. This whole experience has taught me a very great but painful lesson. This dedicated scientist, this devotee of natural philosophy. I've been selfish and self-centered and, above all, a fool. Professor. I spent my life thinking of nothing but my research, misguidedly believing that I could do whatever I set my mind to, despite my lack of talent. And the worst of it is, in the process, I've caused others pain and misery, others who are far, far greater people than I. No, Professor, that's not true. What? Don't tie yourself with the same brush as Drebber. What happened was his doing and his alone. This outcome is his fate, not yours. You're not to blame in any way. Lord Van Zeeks. And the derision with which he referred to you earlier, calling you a fool, talentless even. The man has no idea. To believe in yourself and work your fingers to the bone to realize your dreams, that's laudable, not laughable. No one has the right to deride another for such choices. Oh. Thank you, Barak. So, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, yes, my lord? It is this court's expectation that you find the defendant not guilty of the charge of which he stands accused. I presume there are no objections. None for me, my lord. Certainly not. This trial has really made me think. But this is the right decision. It's all been proven methodically and rigorously. I have no misgivings whatsoever. What's that? He's done it, isn't he? It's all over? I don't know what's become of the yard these days. I don't recognize the place. Very well. In that case, I hereby pronounce the defendant not guilty. I'm going straight to bed after this stream. I'm pissed. Oh my god. Woo-hoo. Court is adjourned. It's over. That was some trial. Go back in the defendant's antechamber. Professor, what a splendid outcome in it. Oh, it is. Congratulations, Professor Hairbrain. What is it? What's up, Hairbrain? Mr. Naruhodo, Mr. Sato, I am truly beside myself with gratitude. How can I ever thank you enough? I'm just glad it's all been cleared up. That you realize you were just caught up in a bad situation. Right now, you know, if I had that research grant money, I'd give the whole lot to you, every penny. Well, that's very kind, but I'm just a student, so We don't need any financial reward. Your acquittal is more than enough. Oh dear. Oh, what can I do? Aha! How about this? As a memento, the paper about my hypothesis is inside. Well, just as a memento then. Thank you. I've been wondering, Professor. What are you going to do now? Oh my, yes. What am I going to do now? My hypothesis and my great machine lie in ruins. But still, it's been too long since I was last in London, so perhaps I'll enjoy some sightseeing. I must explore the great exhibition whilst I'm here too, and see if new inspiration hits me. Oh yeah, that's a wonderful idea. I can't allow that. Barak? Lord Van Zieks, what are you doing in here? Barak? I'm so sorry. I'm sorry you had to go through that, Albert. Well, if I'm honest, it was terrifying. You're like a grey demon behind your bench there, snarling down on your prey. You're one of those few true friends I have. I couldn't leave it to anybody else to handle the prosecution or the defense. Sorry? Or the defense? Did I just hear that right? I always knew that you had my best interests at heart. Don't worry. Have you shown me around while I'm here in town? It's been a long time since we left university. We have a lot to catch up on. Listen, Albert. In a few days, your acquittal will be made official. When that happens, you must head straight to Dover. I'll accompany you. What? From there, you'll cross the channel and make your way back to Germany. I've already purchased the tickets. But no! Hold on a minute, Barak. What about the great exhibition? This is a chance of a lifetime for me. I want to look around. No sightseeing, Albert. Give up on the idea. Sometimes it's hard to see any warmth in those eyes, Barak. Lord Van Zieks? This is about the curse, isn't it? What's all this about? A necessary precaution. Yeah, I think I understand. You do? Well, Iris told me that when you met Lord Van Zieks at his office some days ago, he asked how Mr. Natsume was doing. Yeah, that's right. I remember being surprised at the time. I'm thinking it was nice of him to ask. The point is, Mr. Natsume is still alive and well, even though it's been more than 6 months now since he stood trial with the Reaper as a prosecutor. And Gina's still alive as well. She's doing great actually. She's an inspector at the Scotland Yard. You mean the Reaper's influence doesn't stretch overseas? What about Gina? Why are we not bringing Gina up in this conversation? Those in the Reaper's sights meet their ends days or sometimes months after their acquittal. That's been the pattern up to now. But of course, we know that both Mr. Natsume and Gina were completely innocent. Yeah, finally, she brought Gina up. True. And perhaps that governs the Reaper's actions. The truly innocent are spared. But I don't want to take any chances with a close personal friend. Barak. Like the mustached Nipponese, this man should leave the country without delay. That's why I'm packing him off to Germany at once. Right. Does your friendship package get any say in it? Goodness, was this your intention all along then, Lord Van Zieks? In court, when people think of him as the Reaper, this man seems absolutely merciless. And yet, sometimes I feel as though I don't understand him at all. It's time to go, Albert. Back to the prison for the time being. Yeah, alright. Well then, Mr. Narhada, thank you so much for everything. Not at all, Professor. It's a pleasure getting to know you. Best wishes, Professor Hairbrain. Well, once the dust are settled, you must come and visit me in Germany. Anyway, goodbye for now. Now, my Nepalese friend. Oh, yes. Thank you, gone too. We have matters to discuss. Can you spare me some time? You want to talk with me? I'll be waiting in the courtroom in 10 minutes. Oh? Oh? Well, that was strange. For some reason, I didn't get that sense of impending doom as he walked away this time. Oh? The enigma? Dark Foxes and Seeks? What does he want to discuss, I wonder? The answer awaits in the courtroom, I suppose. Here goes then. Huh. Go back in the courtroom. So it's Barak, his apprentice, Ryunosuke, and Susato. So are you satisfied? We save a guileless scientist from a great injustice. Yeah, I think so. I'm relieved at least that the man's innocence could be proven. Anyway, I imagine you've been wondering where my animosity towards you Nipponese comes from. Okay. Clarify, please. Well, at first I thought you just didn't like me. I imagine you saw me as a potential child from an unimportant land who had no business being here. But now I think differently. You clearly know our ways, so I guess that some specific incident led to your thorough dislike of my race. Will you tell me what happened, please? The professor. I thought I'd never hear that name in this courtroom again, to be honest. He took your brother's life. Clint. My brother was Clint Van Zieks. 16 years ago, when I was still just in my teens, he was already the director of prosecutions and a key member of the judiciary. I looked up to him. He was everything I aspired to be. He was involved in the establishment of justice systems in foreign countries as well. There were exchange programs between Britain and other nations then too, to share knowledge and ideas. As part of one of those programs, 3 judicial students came to Britain from their homeland, the Empire of Japan. Oh, if it was 16 years ago, then one of them could have been my father. Of course. I remember Dr. Mikitoba well. I had no idea. I was a minor at the time, training at the prosecutor's office. One day, Clint introduced me to 3 visiting Nipponese. So, you've actually met my father. He and his colleagues were polite and amicable. They were adept at their work and exacting in their standards. It was my first encounter with the Nipponese spirit, and it made a very great impression upon me. But 6 years later, that's when it happened. The investigation was going nowhere. There were no suspects even, just an ever-growing list of victims. And in the end, my brother became one of them. The last, in fact, before the case was finally resolved. I'm so sorry, Lord Van Zieks. Truly. Clint was always ready to put his life on the line for justice anyway. So he wouldn't have wanted it any other way. He lost his life to the killer, but it was his victory in the end. For me personally though, it was a great loss. I found myself in a very dark place indeed. Naturally. When I finally found out the killer's identity, the reason why no one had been able to catch the man sooner ceased to be such a mystery. He'd been hiding in plain sight all the time. In plain sight? Are you aware of political events 10 years ago? It was a period of extremely sensitive diplomacy between the British and Japanese empires. A new treaty was being forged, I think. Correct. The Anglo-Japanese Treaty of Friendship and Navigation was being concluded. Oh, I haven't heard that in a while. The leaders of both countries were deep in extensive political discussions. which is why this particular killer's appearance in court was conducted as a closed trial. If the British public had known the identity of the killer, not only would the treaty have been in jeopardy, our two nations could very well have ended up at war. Oh, what? A war? Between Britain and Japan? But that would mean... Oh my, you mean to say the professor was...
When the trial reached its conclusion earlier, I thought to myself, yes, it's time. Time for you to come face to face with this hideous monster.
Okay.
I borrowed the key for the mask from the proprietress of the Waxwork Museum.
Okay,
You'll
from
see for yourself
Psssttt.
now. Confirm it with your own eyes. The truth that's been hidden this past decade.
That's the professor?
Yes, that's him.
Until now, the thought never even crossed my mind. That the mass murderer, whose crimes shook Britain as never before, was Japanese.
Wait,
Yeah.
wait a minute. That face. I feel as though I've seen it somewhere.
Yeah.
Strangely familiar.
What? Are you okay? Dude, you good? Dude, you good?
Father.
Whoa? Hey, up?
What? Father?
Okay, we definitely know who this is now.
Kazuma!
Hey, it's Kazuma. You look dead.
My best friend, Kazuma Asogi. After a whole year, finally his memories returned.
It's been a year since he's been gone. Since the SS Bayern incident.
As he stood there before me. Ryunosuke. Hello again,
I'm so confused.
my friend.
Kazuma-sama!
Judicial Assistant Mikotoba.
It's been a very long road. Thank you. Thank you for guiding my friend here when I could not.
It was an honor.
Oh my god.
I knew you wouldn't die that easily.
Yeah.
Kazuma.
Yeah, it was a stupid death.
I owe you thanks, too, for taking good care of that in my absence.
Oh. Karuma, the great blade of the Asogi clan, passed down through the generations.
Sword.
When we left Japan, this sword was at my friend's side. The Japanese man's katana is his soul, and he couldn't be parted from it. But then, when the incident happened, it was Susato-san's wish that I inherit the sword, and I've kept it with me ever since, along with my memories of the friendship we shared.
No.
With this by my side, I always felt that you were watching over me somehow.
It's a bit weird though that he's wearing his like that Ryunosuke's in his like kind of non-canon outfit and not in his kind of lawyer outfit, like lawyer student outfit.
I've made it. At last. Father.
Are you saying... Surely not. You mean you knew all this time?
That
I'm
his
looking at
father
it,
was the professor.
but I still can't believe it. This mass murderer is Kazuma's father.
Can't believe what? How did not? How? Why did? How did he know all this time that he was the professor? Where is Baroque in all this? What's Baroque? He's just like what? Watching all of this happen? He's just disappeared.
Ryunosuke, we have much to talk about, but now is not the time.
Okay.
I'll be seeing you.
Yeah, in court. What? I have so many questions. What has happened to him over this past year?
That's all Kazuma said. Before he turned and left us there in the courtroom.
Oh my god. There's Baroque. So he's the living after image of the man who took my brother's life, is he? Yes, Kazuma Asogi, my best friend. 3 months ago, when Lord Strongheart introduced us, I had an inkling there was something there, some connection. But why did Lord Strongheart do that? Why did he make Kazuma Lord Van Zeek's apprentice? And when he was suffering amnesia too? The man was apprehended, even executed, but his legacy just won't die. That's the sad truth. Anyway, that's all I had to say. I thank you for meeting with me, as I asked. Okay, he's gone now. Oh my god. Oh my god. Big law, big law. 10 years ago, my grandmother took me to the railway station. We were there to meet my father from the train. For me, it was the first time I'd ever seen him. Poor Susato-san. All this is tied up with painful memories for her too. She's never talked about this with me before though. Oh yeah, she didn't she didn't really know her dad for the first 4 years of her life, because he was off studying in England. It took time to adjust having father around, but just when I was starting to get used to it, he called me to his study one day. He told me that a great friend of his had passed away in London, and that the friend had left behind a son, a boy, 7 years my senior. Father told me the boy had made a promise to his late father, so he was studying to become a defense lawyer. I wanted to help, so I studied to become a qualified judicial assistant. As I'm sure you've worked out, that young man's name was Kazuma Asogi. So you see, that's how he and I met.
For a brief moment, my great friend had returned, only to disappear again all too soon. But in that fleeting encounter, something stirred. Something that had been dormant for a long time. As if great wheels had been set in motion. I could almost hear them creaking into life. In some ways, it was the end of a chapter, but in many, it was the start of a new one.
Was this originally going to be the last case of Great Ace Attorney? Obviously, we have 2 more cases of this game, plus the extra little episodes that I'm probably going to do at some point. So yeah, that's the stage achievement for completing this game. For completing this case is called the demasking. That is. I just realized because you know, Kasuma and Kazuma are demasked from being Barak's assistant apprentice to being Kazuma again. Okay, next we have 2 more cases left. We have Twisted Karma and his last bow, and the resolve of Ryunosuke. Now, hold on. Return to the title screen. Yes. I hope you've enjoyed this. Yeah, I'm gonna raid somebody. So, I'm gonna go raid somebody. So, let us raid. Let's raid Naz again. Let's raid Naz again. Let's go raid Naz. So yeah, let's type in the raid command / raid Naz Studios. They're playing. Naz is playing a bit more of Honkai Star Rail. So and why isn't the thing going through? Why isn't the raid command showing up on my OBS? Why isn't it not coming up on my OBS? I literally have to go to my channel so I can properly actually do the raid thing. So yeah. Okay, let's go. I hope you have enjoyed this stream, and I shall see you guys on Sunday. So yeah, bye guys, bye.